didn't hear anybody talking about the game. It was all Shaq and Kobe, Shaq and Kobe. You would have thought it was J-Lo and Ben Affleck just really putting the, what are you wearing on your nose? What is
What are you
that?
talking about?
Is that a Mickey Mouse? What is that?
No.
What's going on with you?
No,
What's going on with you?
I'm ready.
Is that Kobe's nuts? Did you get that from?
That's
I don't
really
want to know.
racist.
I don't
You
want to
trying
know where
say
you
his
got
nuts are
that.
this black? That's messed
Yeah,
up.
I mean, he's been dead for a while, and he was charred by helicopter plane.
Oh my god!
All right, guys. I'll see you later. Peace.
Do whatever it takes to get that thing off your face. So,
Talking about this whole ass motherfucker Shaq again.
hey, I'm not retort to that yet. We're looking at the 04-05 NBA season. I feel like this is a season that doesn't get brought up when we're talking about, especially when we do our time machine episodes for hypotheticals. This season never comes up. I just feel like it's between two different eras. Like, we're in between the Shaq and Kobe era, and we're not quite to the LeBron reign of dominance. Like, I feel like we're not even to the Lakers Celtics stuff that made three different. You know what I mean? That 3-year period. I feel like we're right in between two definitive eras of time, and I think that's why.
That's crazy that you look. I look at it always as Shaq Kobe dominance, then the black, and then Kobe dominance, and then the LeBron stuff.
I'm shocked you look at it through
it literally happened
through
those
snake eyes.
3 years of just straight up Kobe Bryant, but we just, for whatever reason, people just like to ignore that.
Well, yeah, because it's not just him; it's also the Celtics are involved in that too. It's a big part of the story. But I just think we're between two eras. And the other cool part that I always bring up when I tell new people that don't know about this particular era is there's one star on almost every team. Like Washington Wizards, Gilbert Arenas, Allen Iverson, Philadelphia. The Detroit Pistons, they just won a championship with Phillips and Ben Wallace and those boys.
I don't have a star, but
Steve Nash, right?
Yeah.
Spurs is Tim Duncan.
Get Amari Stoudemire.
Yeah, Mari's still pretty young though. I think this is going to be his second
he's not.
year.
Yeah, he's not.
But Steve Nash is the definitive star from this team. Dirk, Dallas, Seattle. Ray Allen. I think this is Ray Allen's time.
Yeah.
Rockets. You got T-Mac and Yao to an extent, but mainly T-Mac at this time. But I'm going through the whole freaking league, and I can name you one definitive star from a majority of these teams: Celtics, Paul Pierce; Nets, Jason Kidd; LeBron, Cavaliers. Like it's a very spread out era with one star on every team.
Yeah.
Not to say that the talent is super amazing at this point, but it somehow works out that there is a star on every single team, and I feel like there's no main dominant team that controls the narrative at this point.
I feel like this is when people start calling it the Jordan effect. I feel like it's like like after or a lot of times after you see one type of dynasty, like people start to mimic it.
Sure.
I feel like this was just a lag to that because it was like
I think that was actually happening during the Lakers championship run. Like, obviously, the Lakers did their best to get the guy who came up with the offensive system that's the ultimate form of duplication. But I also think that to that point, there's just a lot of guys that play a lot of iso ball in this era too.
Yeah.
And that's a direct result of Jordan. But in terms of why this doesn't come up as like the best era of time, heavily defensive, slow pace, a lot of iso ball, and one star on every team.
And a lot of parity at this point, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, I would consider that a good thing. But I guess in the grand scheme of things, it's a negative. I think it's I love parody personally. Like this era is fun for me.
Like if you look at like when the league makes the least amount of money, I think it's when there's parody.
So interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird, but it's because like us basketball heads are just like, let's go.
But it's like even in looking at before we really dive into the Miami portion of this and the Shaq aspect of this, this is a good thing to talk about. In the NFL, parody is good. Like there's other sports leagues, the NHL, like parody is good for a lot of teams. The NBA, it seems like we need one super narrative driven thing, right?
Or it's like two titans have to clash or something.
Yeah, preferably in a good media market, like in a big.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, well, now with the internet, it's a little different, but at this time, especially, you need a strong media market, and we have a couple here because right now the narrative
is starting to get pretty. I think this is when like things are starting to like kind of heat up in terms of media.
Yeah, I would. That's fair, and especially as we get towards the social media era, which is still we got a couple of years till then. But as we get towards the social, then it kind of explodes completely. But to your point, that's true because doing research for this season was very easy because I could just go on ESPN and there's a recap of every single game with like articles. Because we're now at a point where, as you said, it's more popular, so. It's way easier to come up with notes. So I definitely think there's some truth to that. But all right, so let's look at this Heat team. Because Shaq's going to come here because he sees a lot of strong young talent. Actually, let's look at last year's roster. So I want to see some of the guys that stand out. Obviously, Wade is the first person that pops in your head. He's a rookie. What did he average? 16, 4, and 5 in the regular season. But in the playoffs, when Shaq's really paying attention, bumps it up to 18, 4, and 6, right? With a steal. So for 22 years old, that's really good. Obviously, Wade stayed later in college than a LeBron or a Carmelo. So he's going to be a little bit older. But really good combo guard. And by combo guard, I mean he could play the point guard really well, or he could play two guard really well. Yeah, that's my definition of what a combo guard is. Like, and he could pass like a point guard, and he could score like a shooting guard.
Yep.
And they got Lamar Odom, who was part of the trade, right?
So Wade definitely wasn't like a for sure gonna be like the next guy, the next great shooting guard. Like it wasn't like just easy to like tell that. So like,
I think there were flashes, obviously. Like especially look as we get later into the season, you're going to see him start to pick it up from scoring. But in this last Indiana series, he's playing 40 minutes a game, 21, 4 and 6, with a steal and a half ish, and half a block. Shooting 49%. Like, that's what Shaq's looking at when he's sitting on his couch.
Yeah.
Watching the playoffs. He's still in the playoffs. But he said repeatedly that he watched this team and saw Wade and was like, I want to play with that guy.
It's not that I don't pay attention to guys. I just don't care. I got my own thing going on. I didn't even know who he was. So while we're in the playoffs, I'm watching him go at Baron Davis. I'm like, who is this?
Young motherfucker.
All right, so then when the Lakers talking about playing me, I said, I know where I want to go. I want to go back to Florida.
Oh, they gave you that chance? They gave you that opportunity?
Yeah, so I want to go play with him. So as soon as we got there the first day, I said, look, man, you heard this, you heard that. Me and you ain't going to have no problem. You the man. Take as many shots as you want.
I need
to get 28-10 to make everybody feel good, make myself feel good. And we never had problems.
Because if there's one thing Shaq knows at this point, it's a dynamic guard. He's been blessed to play the majority of his career with at least one unbelievable guard.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm sure he looked at Wade and was like, I've seen that shit before.
Yeah.
Wade obviously came off super competitive. He got his college to the Final Four.
Yeah.
I don't remember whether they won the championship. I'm terrible with college. I can't remember. No, Syracuse won the championship that year because of Carmelo. But anywho, he's coming to this team. A lot of youth, a lot of inexperience, except for Eddie Jones, who he played with in LA for a little bit before he got sent to Miami.
That was interesting that they meet up again.
What's more interesting is that great guard that we talk about always takes that motherfucker's job. Like, that's the crazy part. It happened with Kobe and D Wade.
Yeah.
The same exact story for Eddie Jones. Giannis Haslam, young. Is he still playing? Did he ever retire?
I think
he's still on the Heat.
He's like what Andre Iguodala was this year.
Who's the guy in the Fab Five? Juwan Howard did that for a long time with Miami.
Yeah.
Where he was just there in spirit.
Yeah. That's crazy. But I'm sure it's very helpful.
Yeah. But at this time, he's a solid power forward. This year he's going to put up some pretty good numbers next to Shaq.
11-9.
He's this. So this is what Shaq's looking for. And Shaq comes out. He's 35 pounds lighter than he was with LA. So something that the LA media and most media had been asking from Shaq for years.
Yeah.
Now he comes in. He wants to be. He made that clear with the weight because he was like, I want to try and get closer to Orlando Shaq. Probably having a midlife basketball crisis to an extent.
Well, I'm sure it's one of those things where everybody's counting him out, so he feels like he has to show everybody up, kind of thing. But in reality, everybody still freaking loves this guy, which is bullshit.
Yeah. We're gonna get into that when we get to the first week of the season because it's pretty obvious in the first week that everyone sees him super dominant.
Yeah.
But the main thing, he comes out opening press conference and says, "This is Dwayne Wade's team."
Get that done, and I'm glad to be here. And I know you guys are probably going to start talking about whose team is it. I'm letting you know now it's Dwayne Wade's team. He's that type of guard that could lead us and do good things, and I'm just his big brother, and I'm just here to back him up. So this is Dwayne Wade's team. We don't want to hear no questions this year about whose team it is. I'm telling you now, it's Dwayne Wade's team. He's the point guard. Eddie's his medium-sized brother, and I'm his big brother. And we're going to do this.
He's trying to play a different role than the one he played in Los Angeles. I think getting traded is what took, and we talked about this during the off-season portion of this, where that was his goal was to turn a new leaf. He came, he talked with Wade, he said everything that went on. Their relationship was good, and his game is showing that he's willing to take that role.
But literally what happens here is what makes me it gets me so frustrated with him though.
That's fair.
Because it's just think about it. If you would have literally started off saying, look, this league, to Kobe, right? Because he just came off having another freaking spat with another guard. If he would have done this with Kobe and just said, look, it's my time now, but it'll be your time later, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And they go over, and then he starts transitioning. Let's say in the 03 season, because really that's when I feel like he really started diminishing. In the 03 season, if he would have really saw himself diminishing and said, look, we could shift this, and then made Phil Jackson do that, shift it to more Kobe, and then he's more of the help, similar to what he's doing to Wade right now. They literally, because I think that's where them saying they would have won 8 championships, I think that's what they mean. If they would have done that to begin with.
And it's impressive because the Heat are going to get off to a really good start. 7-3 in their first 10 games. Wade takes that jump, obviously next jump, right? 26, 5.3, 7.3 for Wade. Rebounds and assists respectively. 2 steals and a block and a half. Shooting 54%. Fucking solid. Couple of 35 plus point games in there too. Shaq, 20 points a game, 11 rebounds, 3 blocks, 3 assists, 54%. But they play the Nets in the opening game, right? They win, but they dominate, even though Shaq only has 16 points. Wade with 21, right? They dominate New Jersey. And Alonzo Mourning, who is, I think, on this team for this period of time. More on him later. Yeah, Alonzo Mourning here. 13 minutes off the bench. 4 personal fouls. Shaq got him in foul trouble most of the game.
Nuts. I'll tell you, man, on the Heat.
We're getting there. More on him later. But
no, I thought you said, I thought you were saying that he was on the Heat at that moment.
Oh, yeah. Not quite. But Alonzo Mourning, 6'10", 261-pound center, said earlier this week, who plays Shaq one-on-one? If he's in incredible shape, he'll score 50, 60, maybe even 70 points in a game. Like, people still think he's the best player in the world. Yeah. Like, and the most dominant. There's another quote that I found later on that's essentially where they're like, if there are people there to say he's the most dominant, that basically means you're the best player in the world. I'll find that quote when we get to it, but it was kind of what I was saying at the end of 03-04, where I was like, sometimes saying he's the most dominant can be a cop-out for what you really think. Like, and there are definitely people that still think he's the best player on the planet and the most physically imposing player in the game. And the way Curry is guarded from outside, like near the half court line, and he attracts all that space, like all the defenders lean towards him. Yeah. Shaq, very similar deal, except not from the outside, but the inside. There's this gravitational pull of help towards the inside.
Clogs.
And that makes it a lot easier for these guys to start to get off with their jump shots, especially a guy like Wade, cutting, slashing, getting to the line, finding Shaq underneath if needed. It's just the team looks great to start out this year. So they're going to start 10-6 in the first month-ish of the season, right? Yeah, basically first month. They only play in November here. So 10-6, they're starting to gel as a team. Shaq's going to score his first 30-point game. He's going to have 34 in a 2-point loss to the Raptors. And he comes out after the game where he shot 12 of 15 from the field, 10 of 13 from the foul line. So wow. It's a fire game from Shaq.
Yeah.
So but they lost. I think it's an overtime game. So on November 30th, he puts up the points. But on ESPN on the 1st of December, right? It's all about what the team does. I could care less about what I do. Who added Shaq, who added 17 rebounds. I'm here for team play. I'm here for the team to do well. If the team doesn't win, then none of that stuff matters. I think Shaq felt this way to an extent in LA, but he's really trying to turn a new leaf in terms of, let's stop talking about me getting the ball. Like, stuff like that. Let's not just worry about, I got mine. I got my 34 and 17, so whatever.
Control the narrative. Like, he's trying to feel like this is how I've always been. They just made me seem like that before.
Maybe. I kind of look at it as a combo of the two things that we've discussed here. Like, I kind of look at it as, if you tell yourself something enough times, you'll start to believe it. And maybe it's one of those things where it's like, if I'm out there in the media saying this, I have to hold myself accountable for whatever. I do think to an extent he's trying to control that narrative and or definitely continue to change the narrative about him and put more of the blame on Kobe Bryant, which on the other side of the country, he is just taking no longer a beating because of the sexual assault case, but just a beating for being the primary reason that this all broke up. And there's several stories heading into this Christmas game, right? Where the Heat are going to be number 1 in the NBA. or the number one in the Eastern Conference heading into Christmas versus the Lakers and Kobe Bryant. And they're at two completely different points.
Yeah.
Like, Shaq is still, and it's really interesting because Kobe is getting better and better as a individual player, right? But as a team, it's just taken a nosedive in LA with Phil and Shaq on. And that's the narrative that's getting spun. That's the web that's getting spun here. Like, there's a lot of, what do you call it? There's a lot of that type of talk going into this game.
That fucking game. That Christmas Day game was like, it's just pure hatred. I was like, all right.
So, but pregame, right? Shaq says, if you got a Corvette that runs into a brick wall, you know what's going to happen. O'Neal, the Heat center, told ABC. Bryant, the Lakers star, protested the comparison, telling Los Angeles reporters, I'm so far from a Corvette, it's not even funny. Bryant said he was more like a Lamborghini. To which O'Neal, speaking to Miami reporters, said, no, he's not. He's a Corvette. So essentially, they're 6-year-old boys fighting within the media. This is how you and your little brother would argue. Like,
I think Kobe was spitting facts. To be
yeah,
honest.
I'm shocked by that.
Come on, Kobe ain't no damn Corvette. He's definitely.
If you look close enough, the white in Dario's eyes is not actually his eye. It's Kobe's cum. I know it's hard to believe, but it's a fact. It's Kobe's semen dripping out of his eyeballs because his brain is just filled with Kobe's dick. So, let's see. Shaq says, every game means a lot, but this game Saturday, believe it or not, doesn't even make my top 100 battles. Again, we're diving backwards here. We've heard a lot from Shaq sounding like a mature adult. Now he's diving back into the petulant child I wanted to leave in Los Angeles, personally. I've been in the league 12 years, and I've had to go up against a lot of people and do a lot of things, but they're trying to make it me against him, and I've always been a team player. To your point, very much trying to shape the narrative. Oh, Kobe says, I'm going to have to fight back tears. It's going to be tough. I honestly don't have any sentiment either way. It's just basketball. It's going to be like, it's going to the park and playing the game at Rucker that everybody's talking about in the summertime. There's a lot of hype around the game. You do what you do. There's no emotion or tough to play against him or anything like that. It's a game. Kobe went to Rucker this past summer?
No, I think in 03.
That's a legendary fucking game. If you've never seen that, some of the highlights will be on your screen. The Rucker game, one of my favorite young Kobe Bryant moments. But Kobe's being self-aware about where his Lakers are at, and where Shaq's Heat are at. They have a different path. We have a different path than they do, Kobe said. They're obviously in contention right now, and we're just trying to get there. How much pain do you think Kobe feels in his soul to say that out loud?
I don't honestly I think he understood what that season was gonna be. So going into it. So
do you? You think? You really think he Kobe, was like, okay, this is going to be a rebuilding year? I feel like he would have a really hard time accepting that.
No, that's what I feel like people I understand Kobe's thought process a lot, where they do the Mamba mentality and makes it seem like he could do anything kind of thing. But I think he completely understood that's not a championship team right now.
Yeah, I gotta believe that he thought he could get them in
he's
contention.
Trying his hardest to win every game, but I also think he understands that they're not they just lost all their pieces, their core pieces, including coach, and then they just they're rebuilding. It's 100% a rebuild year.
But I definitely think that Kobe for sure felt like he could get them in playoff contention and being contenders just by him being so great. I'm sure there's a thought that had to have crossed his mind. I don't think he thought they were going to be teetering out of the playoffs. I don't think he thought that. I think he definitely looked at it like, I'm great enough to get them to a certain point. Like that's
maybe
everything in his DNA and his history. Everything in his history indicates that. Like, it would be weird for me to think that he would, like, because I don't know. I just, the guy has irrational confidence.
Like, he's not a child. Like, I really feel like I could totally see him thinking, I'm at least going to make this a playoff team. For sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think he would legitimately thought he could win a championship with that team. There's no way in hell that he would have thought that.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. He's averaging 27, 7, and 7 heading into this Christmas game.
Yeah.
I want to look that up. Which is, what was that for him in the NBA?
I'm dead ass. Like, not even joking. Best player in the league at this point. That's it.
So it's all right. Curry.
This is when the Kobe era begins. If anybody ever wants to understand, like, when people start talking about this bullshit, LeBron's been dominating the league for 17 years. No, this is when the Kobe era begins, and he goes all the way until 2011. All right, guys.
Okay. Yeah, so Kobe's second in scoring.
Yeah, exactly.
Behind Allen Iverson, who's probably, but he's shooting a terrible percentage. He's shooting 39%. If you're shooting worse than Allen Iverson, feel sad. Feel sadness in my heart.
Word.
Because we know how much I love Allen Iverson, his
efficiency.
insane ability to throw the ball at the rim and pray it goes in. Let's see. Where's Dwayne Wade? Is he in the top 10 here? Yeah,
I think, I'm not even going to lie. I think Kobe having this team at a winning record at this point is fire. To be honest.
What was their record?
14-11.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, yes. And he's had to do a lot to do that. And 27, 7, and 7 is LeBron James numbers. So he was definitely, his usage rate was through the roof. Yeah. For sure.
For sure. Yeah. I'm sure. I'm 100% sure. I don't even think he had a point guard. Like, who's his point guard?
It's got to be him and Iverson. I'd probably have to do a minimum minutes a game, but Kobe's still in here. It's him and Iverson, as I thought. 34 and 32%. That's what I figured.
Yeah.
Allen Iverson was the king of all these weird stats that imply you do way too much as a player. Yeah. You're doing too much. Do less.
Yeah.
But Kobe said that he would like to apologize directly to Shaq for mentioning his name to detectives investigating sexual assault charges against Bryant. We talked about that during the offseason.
Yeah, Kobe drafts. When the only bad thing I'd ever say about Kobe.
That's not true. You didn't like the fact that he got a Philly cheesesteak or a cheeseburger and cheesecake combo. You said that he was disgusting for that. I'll play the game. Kobe has food poisoning going into game 2, which I didn't even know about. But he was vomiting overnight after he ordered a cheeseburger and a piece of cheesecake from room service, a team representative said.
I do want to say cheeseburger and cheesecake combo. That's like kind of disgusting, Kobe. Yeah. Like,
it's too much cheese.
Like, that's Philly. That's
cheese
Philly
overload.
Shit. That's definitely Philly nigga shit.
Oh.
Like, that's a fact, though. Like, I don't know if that is true.
Don't ever say only one thing.
Yeah,
we have recorded evidence
that's completely different.
More than anyone.
That's like
so
food.
All these things are etched in my brain.
I'm talking about like as a person, like Kobe doing the Philly
cheeseburger and cheesecake combo. It makes him a terrible person.
That's wild. Like the way he shit that night, like it was a mix of constipation and just straight up diarrhea. Altogether.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Like a one shot, not a one shot, but like a long one shot that just came out diarrhea. Man.
So when Bryant's recent apology was mentioned, Shaq said, "I don't watch TV. TV corrupts the mind." And when asked if he wanted to speak with Bryant, O'Neal said flatly, "No."
Shaq's such a hoe.
Got to keep the beef going.
Yeah.
Got to keep that beef sizzling. That's what it's about. A handshake sounded possible, however. "I've always been a classy guy, so I'm going to do things the right and classy way," O'Neal said. I feel like if you changed if you replace classy with petulant, I think it would be an accurate statement. I've always been a petulant guy, and I'm always going to do things the right and petulant way.
What's petulant? We gotta get the. I don't think
a big fat brat.
But it's petulant child. It goes together. You don't just say petulant.
Petulant definition. A person childishly sulky or bad tempered. I'm good. Fucking.
I could see it. He's definitely petulant.
He's absolutely this. This is the word to describe him. There's no better word.
I've just heard the word for weeks now, guys. I've heard this word for weeks.
Didn't know what it meant. Never bothered to ask me what it meant.
No, I knew what a petulant child was, but I just always heard it together. Never just petulant.
Well, it's not one word, thankfully.
No shit, Sherlock. All right, come on, let's go. Come on. Phil Jackson starts sucking cock and saying, "Hey guys, it's all Kobe's fault. Fuck this guy. He didn't want us here."
So blame has been cast in every direction for the breakup of the Lakers, but in Jackson's final assessment, only one man had the power to stop it: Kobe Bryant.
Such a cocky. The youngest guy. Time out. This is the part that frustrates me. The youngest guy on the team, or in the situation.
Yeah.
Along with the guy with the least amount of freaking power or pull. Like the only thing he used was his leverage for his free agency. That's the only thing he used.
And the fact that Jerry Buss loved him. Like Jerry Buss was almost
Shaq messed that up. Shaq messed that up because if Shaq wouldn't have made it hard the year before and did the whole money bullshit, all this stuff, and hindered his relationship with Jerry Buss, then it would have been a much more difficult negotiation process for Kobe.
So you think that Jerry Buss and Kobe were not close?
No, of course they were close, but Shaq and Jerry Buss were also close. And you can argue that Jerry Buss, as a straight up owner, liked Shaq a little bit more because he was the reason he was making all this money.
Yeah, maybe, but definitely not by the end of the last Kobe Shaq.
But that's because the whole Shaq being an asshole about his contracts. If he never did that in the beginning of the 03 or the 03-04 season, if he would have just like chilled out and let the negotiations go, and if he would have just took the original deal that they gave him, that was just $9 million off of his other deal,
right?
It would have put Kobe in a fucked up situation, and he would have either had to, he would have left, or he would have had to conform.
Well, the only thing I'm going to say to play devil's advocate on that, because I understand completely where you're coming from, I think Kobe was not going to play for Phil Jackson again. At this point in time, we know he's going to play for him later, but at this point in time, Kobe was done with Phil. That's just a fact. And Phil obviously was done with Kobe because he just shits on him at every turn after this point until they get back together.
Writes a whole book, book.
Exactly. Crazy book. But Shaq wasn't going to play for anybody but Phil Jackson in Los Angeles. That, we saw the reports for that. Shaq was irate.
And it made, when you really think about it, because again, Jerry Buss is really who makes the decision, right? And think about how easy this decision is to him. It's this one guy's being an asshole to me. I gotta pay him all this money, and this other guy the guy that I favor right now doesn't also wants me to pay him all this money for being the best coach in the league. So a player that's not really the best player in the league wants to get paid best player money, and a coach that probably is the best coach in the league wants me to pay him all this money too. I'd rather not spend this money, keep this guy, and then rebuild.
Yeah.
In terms of his pocket was totally telling him, fuck these guys.
So, as we said, Phil Jackson said in a telephone interview, he could have saved the whole thing. Only Kobe and Jerry Buss, the Lakers owner, know for sure whether Bryant requested or demanded that O'Neal and Jackson be jettisoned. Buss and Bryant have said that he did not. But Kobe did not have to ask, Jackson said. Even if it wasn't defined or declared, it is what he decided. He wants an opportunity he wants an opportunity to do or to be the system. He wants to make plays and control the action and have the responsibility laying on his shoulder. Phil's such a little fucking weasel. I just think he's such a little weasel, Phil Jackson. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Just a shady George Karl snake in the grass type guy. Comes off that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's just weird. In my meeting with Kobe, Phil said he was tired of being Shaq's sidekick. He didn't say he was tired of playing with Shaq. He was tired of the sidekick aspect. It doesn't matter. The reality is the owner makes that decision.
But
so make up your mind, Phil.
Yeah, but and that like literally goes hand in hand, the sidekick thing and playing with him, because clearly playing with freaking Phil Jackson, he was making Kobe be the sidekick, even though in the last 2 years I don't think that was the case.
What might have been had O'Neal and Jackson simply accepted the offers they got in December, like you were talking about, right? If that would have occurred, Phil Jackson said, it probably would have been the other way around. Kobe would have had to seek his own position with another team. So Phil Jackson agrees with you.
Because Phil Jackson, even though he's an asshole, he's smart.
Last thing before we get into the actual Christmas game. I wouldn't be surprised to see Kobe try and sneak in and block Shaq's shot from behind. That happened. Didn't that happen in this game?
It might have not
been
this
this game or the game
but
in
he definitely
there's another game in 06. I know it happens. It happens, and he at least tries a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, Phil. You fucking...
I think it happened in 09 too.
Yeah, right? Like...
Because when he played with the Celtics, I think I remember Kobe got him to pump, like he pump fake and got him up, and then he did like the and one, and then I remember him staring at him, looking at him.
So this builds to basically the highest game. Let's see what the...
So going back to our throwback, and when we did our Christmas special, and we talked about the greatest Christmas games.
Johnny Arnett, this was his Christmas game. You were gonna pick this game, but then you let Johnny's ass pick the game.
Yeah, that's fine. Johnny was right.
Never back down. I'm just kidding. Never back down.
Agreed with him. We had to vote for it, and I voted for it.
So the meeting between the Heat and the Lakers on Saturday produced an 8.0 preliminary overnight Nielsen rating, a 78% leap from the broadcast last year. It's the highest rating for a regular season game since 1998, a Lakers Bulls game. I think that's that Kobe Jordan, like
that's the
young man,
famous one,
old teacher duel. I think it's one of those games.
Yeah.
And for an NBA game on Christmas since at least 1996. So just the amount of hype that was put into this game, the amount of media covering this game, it ended up turning itself into like a heavyweight title fight.
Yeah.
Even though it was between one team at the top of a conference and one team in like the fucking 8th spot.
That was not fair, yeah. Whatever. But I promise you the media was making it seem like it was the fairest shit ever. Fucking bullshit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Kobe. He asked for this.
If Kobe Bryant doesn't...
He asked for this. So 9 turnovers for Kobe, 42 points on 30 shots, which is solid for Kobe. 5 of 13, 13 of 13 from the line, and almost hits a game winner to get them this game, but it's just not good enough.
I'm just ignoring you. I don't care.
That's what I figured. Wade, 29 and 10 double-double. Really on the map, 38% shooting for Wade, but kind of an on the mat game for him because of how.
Wade,
I mean, at this point, considering he's a child, actually, it's not that normal for him. He was shooting pretty well.
It's definitely not. He was shooting 54% going into the series. So that also shows Kobe was locking up on the other end.
Yeah, Kobe was definitely doing a lot.
Guarding him. Yeah. All
right. He also probably guarded Eddie Jones a little bit too. But Eddie Jones, sniper, 4 threes, right? Shaq, 24 and 11, 3 assists, 3 blocks. But I really feel like this is Wade's coming out party in a lot of ways because of all the hype built around the game, all the eyeballs on the game. And
plus his OT finish.
Yeah. He was awesome in overtime. He had 4 points, and they were I think they were right at the end.
And Shaq fouled out in the fourth, I think, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Hoe ass.
Classic Shaq. What would a great Shaq game? What would a great game involving Shaq be without him fouling out and his guard having to do shit for him?
Yeah, exactly. Literally, look at his whole.
You're welcome.
Career,
I got your back.
Yeah, look at his whole career. Always needed that. At least a moment like that. Bitch ass.
All the hype.
Dirty Shaq fans out of the comment. I don't want to see none of y'all dirty little Shaq fans and any of y'all saying
stupid
little dirt bags.
So Stan Van Gundy said, all the hype, it was like a relationship show. It was like Dr. Phil. I didn't hear anybody talking about the game. It was all Shaq and Kobe. You would have thought it was J-Lo and Ben Affleck just really putting it. What are you wearing on your nose? What is that? Is that a Mickey Mouse? What is that?
No,
what's going on with you?
No,
what's going on with you?
I'm ready.
Is that Kobe's nuts? Did you get that from?
That's
I don't want to know where you got that.
This black? That's messed
up.
I
mean, he's been dead for a while, and he was charred by helicopter plane.
Oh my god!
All right, guys, I'll see you later.
Do whatever it takes to get that thing off your face. All right. I expected him to come out here and just play a game, Kobe said. I know there was a lot of talk about the brick wall and all that, but I think that was just kind of hype to hype the game. I'm over it. I moved on. I'm playing under new management, Shaq said. I'm playing freely. I'm having a good time. It's old news to me. I wasn't worried about doing anything crazy or out of my team's character, Shaq said after a solid 24-11. I would rather get a win
Piece
every
of
time.
Shit. He just dead ass fouled out. Like, get the fuck out of here, Shaq. You're a piece of shit. Like, this, man. I'm gonna look at Shaq differently. Every time I watch TNT now, I'm looking at him differently. That's some bull.
He knows about the sweeps and the fouls out. He knows as an old man. He didn't know at the time, but he knows as an old man. O'Neal's team finished without him as he watched overtime on the bench after fouling out. Kobe's team lost with him as his legs grew lean once his adrenaline expired, basically saying Kobe's a pussy. O'Neal turned the game over to Dwayne Wade, a player he has mentored since he landed in Miami. Bryant turned the game over to Lakers extras. Players left atrophied from watching their shooting stars shoot until the last second.
Atrophied.
That is a savage quote.
Savage quote. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like how this is why players hate the media. Shit like this. Like, this is some bias ass shit.
This is the middle of a 14-game winning streak, which is a franchise record at the time for Miami. And we know when they get LeBron, they're going to get 27 in a row. But this is a huge deal.
To this day, 2022. June of 2022.
The team is gelling, like, really well. And the biggest reason is Wade just taking it to the next level.
Yeah,
like
this is a superstar season. I guess that's dope. I never really looked into Wade's I've looked at Wade's stats, but never really thought about that jump.
It's a huge for any guy at this age.
And this is a perfect example of why everybody was mad that Ja won the most improved player, because something like this is expected of Wade, right? So he ain't win no damn most improved player, did he?
I wonder if he was in. I don't think he did, but I wonder what the voting was.
Because he wasn't even top 2 in Rookie of the year before.
Let's find out what the voting is. Because
we know it was between Brown and
Melo.
So it's not even like you could just completely say oh yeah, he was Rookie of the year or he was that. Yeah.
So get past MVP. We'll talk about that later. Rookie of the year. Dwayne Wade was second. All right. Yeah. All is right in the world. Dwayne Wade was second to Bobby Simmons.
Click on him.
Who plays for the Clippers?
Yeah. Lynn, you don't talk about this guy enough.
I don't think Lindsay even knew this man existed until just now.
She doesn't even know.
37-45 record. Why the fuck would I talk about him?
This is solid for the Clippers at the time. This might be a franchise record.
Go to Bobby Simmons. I'm trying to see his career real quick. I'm trying to see what he did to make himself get.
You're trying to see what you've been
He better
missing.
have went from like 3 points to 16 or some shit.
Bobby Simmons. Let's see. So
he doubled his points.
Doubled his points. Also almost doubled his minutes.
Shots. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's stupid. Like, Wade, that's dumb. Wade should have got it.
Yeah, I think Wade should have got it.
Like, to me, the only time a superstar ever is going to get most improved is that jump, those leaps. When they become
he wasn't a superstar yet.
Yeah, he wasn't even a star. That's the thing. Like, this is like superstar shit, what he's doing right now.
Yeah. He's going to finish with 24, 5, and 7, and a steal and a half and a block. One of the only guards at this point to ever get a block a game. But the storyline was overhyped, but the game was great. Miami won 104-102 in overtime, but there was a twist. The player we came away raving about was not Shaq or Kobe. It was an unassuming high-wire player named Dwayne Wade. Wade, the Heat's second-year guard from Marquette, was a holiday gift to the NBA. Wade has been a great revelation. Wade has been the great revelation this season. He makes acrobatic shots, aggressive slashing drives, and probably leads the NBA in fewest post-dunk chest bumps. Which is weird considering I don't consider Wade like a Barry Sanders, like just gives the ball to the referee.
Well, especially not like in.
I'm not saying he's flashy, but I'm not saying he's
Wade.
His nickname's Flash. His nickname's
definitely is like that though. Like that's what I'm confused about. Like he jumps on like he had that jump on the table moment, like shit like that. Like he does that. Like he's not Tim Duncan. Like he's
maybe
like
he
Tim
had
Duncan's
to grow
like
into that. Maybe as a youngster he wasn't, but even at Marquette he was like,
he jumped on the table.
I don't know if I agree with him.
You want to know what it is?
Is
them trying to paint a stupid ass narrative to make it seem like Shaq got this guy now instead of this guy. I'm telling you. So, they're just trying to build this whole shit up. And think about it. Next year when he won the chip, that's what they pushing. Watch. All right, watch. I already know the story before it happens.
Yeah. It's not like it hasn't happened already or anything.
Yeah, but it's fine.
The change, Stan Van Gundy's going to be quoted. The change that he got.
It ain't happen if we ain't talk about it.
The change. Facts. The changes that he got more experience under his belt with a full year last year, 2 playoff series, then the Olympics, which has historically shown to make good players go to great players, is the Summer Olympics. For whatever reason, putting all those great young talent together, you'll
they learn from
gain more stars.
Yeah,
that's true. Those are all experiences that have helped him mature, that have helped him and matured him as a player. But his personal characteristics, his maturity and his humility were already there. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not trying to say he's like, oh, you're a fucking pussy. I'm fucking you up. You're bullshit.
Yeah, Wade's not like
my dick, coward.
Yeah.
But I am trying to say that I don't think he was like, Mr. Like I said, exactly like Barry Sanders. Like,
or Tim Duncan. I think that's what I look at as like that guy.
After the game, O'Neal said that all of his pupils, the others presumably being Bryant and Penny Hardaway, Wade has been the best listener, the fastest learner, and the humblest of them all. I actually don't think that's true in any of the 3 categories, and I think we can prove it.
Well, I think even if it was true, you want to know what's the difference? They don't have a fucking asshole trying to talk to them. Where that's being like, oh yeah, I'm the guy, I'm Shaq, I'm the guy that everybody loves. Fuck you, motherfucker. Here he's saying, this is your team, this is what we're gonna do, all this other shit. No shit, Sherlock, he's gonna listen to you. Dumb motherfucker.
It seems like you're trying to fucking help him.
Yeah,
and going back to what I'm saying, best listener, maybe he wins best listener. Because maybe Penny and Kobe weren't trying to listen to him. To your
And plus,
point.
I don't know if Shaq had much to teach Penny at that point. I think it was more so like he's clearly talking about Kobe, like when he's saying a lot of these things.
I think Kobe's the fastest learner.
For sure.
My opinion.
Yeah.
That could be argued. Clearly, as we're looking at the most improved player stuff in Dwayne Wade, clearly Wade is young and playing really well, but Kobe was just as good at this age.
Yeah.
Just as good.
Kobe was better at this age. We're not even doing that. Kobe was better than D Wade at the same age. It's not even close.
I think Penny was the humblest of them all. Personally.
Humblest?
Yeah.
It's definitely between him and Wade. Kobe is not a humble bone in his body.
Kobe. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Kobe's third
not
on
a
that
humble
list.
bone in his body. Kobe was humble as an old man, but I don't know about not even an old man, but like
not as an old basketball player, as an old retired basketball player. Extremely humble, extremely willing to give information, similar to the Shaq. Fucking before that, I don't know about all that, but
for sure,
he is the guy who would go to free agent meetings and be like, at age like 36, 37, and be like, "Listen, you're gonna be the best number 2 in the history of basketball playing with me, LaMarcus Aldridge. I will be fucking."
That's not what happened. We're not doing this. That's not what happened.
Look it up.
100% not what happened.
Look it up. It'll be on your screen. So
didn't say that.
I can prove it. It'll be on your screen. So
those words that he said, I promise you didn't say that, because he's gonna have some shit and it's gonna sound completely different the way he said. And
but Marcus Aldridge literally said that Kobe in that interview he went to Lakers was like,
he said,
Kobe was talking to me like he wasn't gonna pass the reins to me, so I went to San Antonio, where Tim Duncan was the guy who said it. Remember I said this. Watch the program.
I promise you, he says we ain't sucking dick. Like that's pretty much what he said. He's like, we ain't sucking dick to bring nobody here. It's either you here, you here. That's what he said. Promise you, 100%. That's what happened.
So Shaq continued to spew. I think we're going to get along just fine because finally I have someone that's like me. Okay, whatever, you fucking loser. My other 2 pupils were the opposite sides of the moon, but this guy is on the same side of the moon. He's on the same planet that I'm on. You know what this sounds like? This sounds like a guy. So I've met guys like this. There was this guy in college that I met him, and he wasn't on campus, and he wasn't going to our college, but he came to like hang out with like our friend group, and I think he was trying to impress some of the ladies. And I was talking to him, and I was like trying to get a feel for him personally. And now midway through the night, he goes, "You know, Russell, I really respect you. It's like you're on my level." And as soon as
I feel like I know what you're talking about.
You know the story because you're partially involved in it, but we're trying not to reveal too many names for the sake of anonymity.
Brian or some shit?
I don't know his name. Fuck, I met him one time, and as soon as he made that comment, I literally, the moment he left, I said, "Never hang out with that guy again. He's a fucking loser. What a fucking piece of garbage. You don't, that's not how you're basically saying, you're on my level, dude, but these other people in the room, they can fucking kick rocks.
Yeah,
these people have the brain power of fucking gerbils. They can suck my fat dick. That's insane. You don't say that." So Shaq on the other side of the moon. So basically saying that Penny and Kobe are on the dark side of the moon. Fucking.
The side
Shaq's on whatever side of the moon the cheese is at. All right? Fat bastard. So there's buzz around Wade. The other day,
I don't know. Is he 35 pounds lighter? Come on, man.
Okay. Well, if he's going back to the moon, he's definitely eating cheese. So there's a buzz around Wade. And the other day, a radio talk show host asked who was the bigger draw, Wade or Shaq. Now, that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm a Dwayne Wade fan, but everyone knows that the emergence of the new Heat star is as much about Shaq as it is about Wade. That's 100% true. There's
how much of a like Russ was acting like he was reading that. He's literally a Wade fan, and he was saying the Shaq stuff. Yeah.
Fucking, I am a Wade fan. I do.
Yeah.
Wade is fire.
Wade, Peter.
He's get the fuck out of here. Wade calculator. At least I don't have Kobe's J shooting out of my eyes. So, fucking against the centerless Knicks, which is another thing. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Everyone look at Dario's crazy eyes.
Hold on, wait, yeah.
I feel like if you do that, if you split your eyes far enough, your fucking eye is going to pop out of your head. Fuck. Before I finish this is a good thing to know. We really are in between. You're stupid. The reason why the Knicks are centerless is because this is the last data of all big men period of time for Shaq.
Yeah, because you pulled up some stats, right? That showed best field goal shooting or something, or highest field goal shooting from a center up to, I think, was it Christmas or January or something?
Yeah, I think it was January, but I'm going to do the whole season because I think it'll still be proven point. I think the point will still be proven.
Because my whole thing is the centers are literally nothing at this point. The only other actual competitive center that Shaq's facing is probably Yao, and he's only seeing them 2 or 3 times a year max.
So these are the centers who are playing more than 30 minutes a game, and they're ranked by field goal percentage. Amari Stoudemire, he's not a center.
Yeah,
right?
He's actually a power forward.
He's a power forward. Ben Wallace, respected, not known for his offense, great defensive player, 6'9".
Yo, wait, time out. Amari Stoudemire, did he really average 26 points a game? No way.
Oh yeah, he was awesome. The Suns were great this year. We'll get there.
But my whole thing is, how do you win a championship? How do you win an MVP?
We'll get there.
That's weird.
We'll get there. That's coming up. That's coming up. More to your. We can hold that fucking thought. Fucking
facts. Because I'm about to flip shit.
So Shaq is the only guy here averaging a double-double of 20 or 20 and 10.
20-point double-double. I got you.
Yeah. He's the only one. He's shooting 60%. He is the last great big man to exist. And they are taking advantage of this. So against the centerless Knicks, O'Neal had 33 points, 18 rebounds, and 3 block shots. His presence creates more room for Wade when critics said it would give him less room. It makes the game so much easier for everybody, Van Gundy said of O'Neal's presence. He draws so much attention that everything you run offensively is so much easier to do because people don't take a body off of him. Most people stay home on Shaq, which gives Dwayne more of a chance to get to the rim, probably than most guards in the league. That was the case with Kobe for a while, and it's definitely the case here with Wade because you had to double Shaq before. You literally don't have the personnel to not double him now. Shaq is killing every center in the fucking league outside of maybe Yao.
Yeah.
And occasionally a battle against Ben Wallace, but he even raped Ben Wallace in the finals. We saw the stats.
Yeah.
So I think that's a humongous advantage, especially at a point now where the three-point shot hasn't completely exploded at all. And you can still get away with a guy like this terrorizing the paint and not having, you know what I mean? Giannis is one of those guys, but even he had to get a little bit of a jump shot.
But
there
I feel
are no guys with no jump shot
especially
anymore
if he's going to have
damage.
everybody gravitating to him like that. Even in today's game, he would probably make it so much easier to get open threes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that 100%. And I think if you put him around shooters, we've seen the results already, even in this era. If you put him around some real shooters who shot 7, 8 threes a game,
that would be
completely. That's a winning formula, and we've seen it over a few. And Dwight Howard's going to prove it in 2009 that it's a winning formula with doing less than Shaq.
Yeah,
it works. It fucking works. I agree with that wholeheartedly. But
do you got Dwight Howard over this Shaq? MVP Dwight? I mean, not or
finals carrying Dwight Howard to this Shaq.
Yeah,
I'll still take this Shaq. I think I'll take this year's Shaq over that, and maybe next year Shaq, but not anything past that.
Yeah, give me Dwight Howard. I got Dwight.
Yeah,
Howard.
100%.
Yeah, for sure. 22 and 14 with like 3 or 4 blocks a game.
I mean, Shaq's 23 and 11
Cool
with 2.3 blocks a game, shooting 60%.
That's cool.
And you're way more scared of Shaq than you are of Dwight.
I don't know. I got Dwight. I got Dwight. Fuck Shaq.
I'm just saying. I don't think it's like a blowout.
I think Dwight. I think Shaq has a hard time with Dwight Howard. He can't run with him.
Definitely not. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it when that time comes, and Shaq's literally kept in the league to be a Dwight stopper. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Because there's literally a point at the end of Shaq's career where I think he retires a few years early, if not for Dwight Howard and them needing experience and a body on Dwight. So, Shaq's one of Shaq's biggest games of the year is he goes against the Clippers, a team that he's historically had a lot of success with or against.
That was where he dropped the 60, right?
Yep. And Wade is going to be out. Something's wrong with him. He's got some injury. And Shaq's going to have 39 in double overtime versus the Clippers. Why they're going double overtime against the Clippers? Fuck if I know.
I think Wade's out.
He is out, but
yeah,
you still should be. I don't know. That was just confusing to me.
That just shows how valuable Wade was to the team, that when he wasn't there, they became like that dismantled of a team.
That desperate?
Yeah. Because Shaq's a fucking
they lost. They lost this game.
This is where I'm completely against you, Shaq. I already drew my line. At this point in your career, fuck you.
And he got help. He got help from guys too. 5 assists.
50 minutes per. Like, why did he play 50 minutes?
Double overtime.
Like, he's a 33-year-old.
Double overtime. There are guys who play.
I understand that. I understand that, but I'm saying he's a 33-year-old with bad legs, all this other bullshit. Why would you not be looking at it as we need you for the playoffs, not double overtime against the Clippers?
This is a fascinating point. This furthers my point that at this point in time and previous, we're still not in the era of the regular season doesn't matter.
Yeah, but it's also just being smart. It's not even like that.
It wasn't a thought at this point. Resting guys and playing low minutes was not a thing at this point in time yet. It's that you want the most durable guys playing the most minutes. And the basketball was at a pace, because this is the other thing. The basketball is slow enough to where you're not going to see nearly as many injuries. We talked about this with Jordan. Because the pace was lower, he didn't get, there was just less opportunities to get hurt. Where if you're running up and down the court, anything can happen so much more to the body.
Tracy McGrady, buddy. Tell that to Yao Ming.
There's a fascinating video on YouTube about Tracy McGrady and his jump shot and his back injuries having to be solely from his jump shot. Apparently he leans back too far on his back, but it's really interesting. Shaq 15 of 28 from the free throw line. So he's still getting that Hack-a-Shaq. Hack-a-Shaq is alive and well.
Yeah, for sure.
But Shaq's obviously still has drawing power at Staples Center. The crowd of 20,043 was only the Clippers' second sellout of the season. It's amazing the disparity between the Lakers and Clippers at this time. The Knicks always sell out, even if they're bad.
Think about it, Russ.
Right?
At that time, does it really feel like there's it makes sense? The Clippers and Lakers weren't even a thing until 2014 or 13 or something.
No. But what I'm saying is, yes, the Clippers weren't good. They were okay this year for Clipper standards.
Yeah.
And what is this? It's January 14th, and this is their second sellout of the year. Where the Lakers, I'm sure, sold out a bunch of times before this.
Oh, for sure.
It's amazing.
Well,
and they're in the same building. It's the same.
But even still to this day, like that Clippers, like there's a reason like they're trying to build a new stadium and stuff. It's just because they don't fuck with them, man.
It's a
we
weird
don't fuck
stigma.
with y'all, Lindsay. Get out of here. We smoking on that Clippers pack.
I think the Clippers should get out of LA, but that's a different opinion for.
Are they actually leaving LA or
no? They're just building another LA stadium, but I think they should get out of Los Angeles. They should move to Seattle.
That'd be nice.
I think so. Clippers coach Mike Dunleavy believes the O'Neal-Wade combination could be as successful as O'Neal and Kobe Bryant when they won 3 consecutive titles with the Lakers. All they need to do is have some of the blanks. All they need to do is have some of the blanks filled in around them. Dunleavy said, referring to the Heat supporting cast. You ready for this? The Heat's 28-11 record tops the Eastern Conference, but Miami is 8-9 against Western Conference teams at this point.
That's crazy,
right? I thought that was really interesting.
That just shows how weak the East was weak for a very long time. I think,
but
pretty much once Jordan left, the East kind of.
While I agree with you to an extent, I think the East.
Who's really a championship contender in that?
Pistons, right?
And that's it.
Yeah. Like who's
on this Bulls? Yeah, who's on this Bulls?
Luau Dang, you're welcome.
I don't even think you're right about that. I think it's
Luau got to be on
19-year-old. This is his first year.
Yes, we out here, cuz.
Kirk Heinrich, the legend, Eddie Curry.
Luau, believe it or not, for you young crackheads.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
That like love LeBron James. He used to cook LeBron James. Luau Dang, look him up. He used to cook LeBron.
I want to talk about a guy who played a lot of minutes for no reason.
Yeah.
Luau Dang, man. So many minutes. But I think, I guess that's a good point.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of contenders here.
Definitely. Hell, yeah.
It's a weak time for the league in terms of that. There's like one good guy on every team. Yeah. And if you're lucky enough to have one good guy and like one okay guy, you're going to be solid.
Then Shaq gets injured.
Oh, yeah. So this is going to be the first sign of Shaq's troubling knee issues. So he's going to play only a minute versus the Bulls. He's going to go out in the very beginning of the game. They lose Shaquille O'Neal in the opening minutes to a knee injury. O'Neal strained his left knee in the opening minutes after he went up for an alley-oop pass from Dwayne Wade and fell on Chicago's Othella Harrington.
Yeah. And this is what I'm saying. Like Dwight Howard would have caught that pass and yammed it. Like,
stupid. Fucking, we gotta remember, Shaq's old and beat up.
That's what I'm saying. That's why you gotta compare him to a freaking prime Dwight. Like
O'Neal stayed on the floor for several minutes, holding his knee before being helped off the floor. X-rays were negative, and he will be reevaluated before Wednesday's game in Indiana. He did not play that game. He won't play for 3 more games.
Yeah.
But now, look at the minutes now. Outside of a few that stand out, he's kind of hovering around that 35 minutes a game for the rest of the year.
Yes, he should. I think I would have, like, to me, it's dumb as hell.
33.
Like, when you really break this shit down, like, you literally just, that you possibly got a diminished player in that trade, which a lot of people didn't think that. Okay. But then, like, that he has at least had injuries for 3 straight seasons at this point. He had missed at least 15 games in 3 straight seasons. Why would you not look at that as, okay, we gotta ease him in?
I don't know.
That's crazy to me. Like, it's not only like I understand the mentality thing, but like when you really break down what happened in that decision, like you should have, like if you're going for championships, like you should care about the postseason more than, but whatever.
No, I agree with you. And I think if this team was booted to 2022, like if this team traveled to 2022, I think you're absolutely right. And that is what happens. But it's also like they're seeing all these positive results. They're going to get another massive winning streak here.
Yeah.
Like from the 26th to the 19th. So they're going to go almost a month without losing.
Yeah.
How many games is this?
So like 10 or 11.
Just add the 2. So this is 12 games. So they're going a 12-game win streak.
Yep.
And, I just think the reason why they're probably is because they're seeing positive results. They want to be atop the East. They probably, what's their home record this year? So Spurs are 38-3 at home. Heat are 35-6. So I'm sure they're looking at it like, we're not going to fucking lose a series on our home floor. So we just got to get home court advantage. It's probably why they're not. Because that's something that matters at this point in time, especially in a weak conference.
That's crazy. The Spurs weren't even at top of the West.
No, it was.
That's crazy.
The Suns.
It was the Suns, yeah. But I think Spurs might have been second.
So I guess the Suns
probably the
have
Suns.
the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, Suns. 31-10 at home, 31-10 on the road.
Oh wow, they just split that even. That's crazy.
Heat's record drops dramatically on the road. So that's got to be what it is. Their home record's so infinitely better than their road record.
That's interesting to me. Like, why? Like, what would cause their road record to be so much worse?
Mentality. It's the same reason why Shaq can make free throws in a closed gym with nobody in there, and he misses them in front of 25,000 people.
I don't think he can make free throws in a closed gym.
Well, there are lots there's like Dwight Howard's another one of those guys. Can't make it. Yeah. It's a thing.
Yeah,
and I believe that Shaq definitely shot 70 to 75% in front of nobody. I think.
That'll be insane.
I think he shot a way higher percentage.
He's such a
Giannis was like that for a little bit. He's getting better though.
Yeah, that's my guy.
Love you, GOAT.
So, not the GOAT. Don't do that.
He is. He's the greatest. Better than Kobe, that's for sure. So the Miami have announced Tuesday they have on the 1st of
Tuesday, March 1st, 2005. I got you, Russ. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. I don't even know if that was a Tuesday. But
why'd you say Tuesday?
Because it says Tuesday. On March 1st, 2005, the Miami Heat announced Tuesday that they have signed free agent center Alonzo Mourning. And this is going to be significant as we get into the playoffs. But I really wanted to talk about this for a second, mainly because I was fascinated by how he ended up on this team. So Mourning was expected to sign with the Heat last week and accompany them on their road trip coming out of the All-Star break. But the move was put on hold while negotiations took place on Chuck Person's buyout. Mourning, who underwent a kidney transplant in December of 2003, became available back on February 11th when the Toronto Raptors reached an agreement with him to buy out the remaining 2 years of his contract, thus clearing the way for him to become a free agent. Toronto acquired Mourning in mid-December along with Eric Williams and a couple picks from the New Jersey Nets in exchange for Vince Carter. So he started on the Nets this year. Then he gets traded for Vince Carter to Toronto. All just a rebound from having a kidney transplant and having this like disease.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had some disease, glomerular sclerosis. I don't know. I'm not a fucking doctor. Some big word. Lots of letters.
Russ kind of looked like a doctor though. You imagine Russ being your bald doctor.
Oh, that's a compliment. I'll take that.
You kind of look like
rich.
you got scrubs
I'm
on.
not one of those.
Like that blue look like you got scrubs on right now.
I can
like
see
one
it.
of those little nurse doctor thoughts.
Oh, I'm a nurse, all right. Sexy one. So he gets Alonzo Mourning comes, and obviously that's going to help further their defense. I wonder who had the fewest points allowed. We could just look at this because it's everybody played the same.
That's third.
No, Rockets are third. Heat are down in the bottom part of the top 10.
Oh. Damn.
Yeah, they're 8th or 9th here. So they're top 5 in scoring. And they're going to have the best record in the East at 59 wins.
Yeah.
So now we can get into this here. So Shaq, I know. Oh yeah. Please, yeah.
See why, Shaq.
So Shaq has said on multiple different platforms for multiple years in multiple different ways that Steve Nash should not have 2 MVPs.
McKinney, Coach Reggie, was he true MVP or was he a sympathy MVP?
No, he was a true MVP.
Over me? Twice?
Oh, get out of here.
Hey, one more basketball question. Who's the MVP in the NBA this year?
Westbrook.
You got my vote.
You know, with the tenacity.
Oh, wait, you got a vote?
Yeah.
Shaq, you
So
got a vote?
hold on. The 2-time Steve Nash beat me out. You voted for Steve Nash?
I did.
Mike D'Antoni is just a flat-out offensive genius. He turned Steve Nash into a good player, to a Hall of Famer.
And to an MVP.
3 or 4 years ago.
I'm sorry.
Come on, Shaq, let it go.
Come on, man. Shaq, let it go. Man. Let it go, Shaq. We know you should have more than 1 MVP.
But he does have 2. But go ahead.
But Steve has twice as many as you do.
And you'll never catch him. Go ahead.
What, Ernie?
And you'll never catch him.
You'll never catch him.
Well, but you
Hey, Shaq, do you need to get on the couch now, too?
Actually, I do.
All right, guys, get up for a second. Dr. O'Neill.
Yes, sir.
Do you want to hold the seat?
Don't touch the toms.
All right. What seems to be your overriding concern today? What is your issue? What would you like to get off your chest?
It was this little good-looking David Beckham little guy running around like a gnat, just passing the ball to people and doing this and doing that. He scored every now and then, but he would always beat me out in the MVP voting. And I'm averaging 28-15 without the free throws.
There's not a part of you that says, yes, Steve Nash deserved the award for the following reasons.
Maybe once, but not twice over the diesel. Twice, 2 times in a row. He got 2, I got 1, Kobe got 1. Something wrong with that picture. Whatever camera you're using, throw it away. Get a new camera.
Anything else?
By the way,
Yeah.
Steve Nash, class act. Never has said anything about it.
Facts.
That's
Facts.
crazy to me. Shaq has openly shitted on him for years.
Yep.
And he hasn't said not one word.
And every time it's brought up, Steve Nash says nothing but nice things.
Yeah.
He is a class act. Great Canadian. That's that Canadian niceness.
See how Russ always got to do with the extra. He didn't got to mention he was Canadian. You could have just said nice person.
All Canadians are nice. All right.
It's not true.
Have
you met Drake? He's an asshole. I'm just kidding.
But no. So, Shaq, it drives him crazy, and
Pretty close.
This would make me, when it's the first place votes are split like this. But I don't know how Shaq is second. Am I bugging?
You think he should be first?
No, I think he should be.
He
should be in the top 5 somewhere.
Like, why? Like Amari Stoudemire being. Like, I'm surprised Nash won MVP with Amari averaging 26 and 9. That's never happened. Before that year, that's never happened.
Yeah, you never see John Stockton winning MVPs over Karl Malone.
Yeah, and you can argue that John Stockton was the system.
And you could. And I think that's the argument here is that Nash is the system. And to be fair, nobody's ever seen anything like this Phoenix team. 62 wins, most in the league. 7 seconds or less. They're shooting more threes than anybody, right?
Yeah.
They'd be middle of the pack or bottom of the league today, but
yeah.
Everybody on the fucking team shoots threes. Steve Nash probably should have shot more threes.
Yeah.
In 2020 basketball, Steve Nash's stats look even better, for sure.
Yeah, he's a monster.
Because he's probably getting to 18, 19, or even 20 points a game. Keeping that assist number.
16 and 11, like, that's crazy to me that he won MVP with that.
Yep.
Like,
50, 40, 88. 50, 40, 89. Doesn't even get to
the 50,
90. Not even 50, 40, 90, which he's going to get to next year.
Yeah.
And Shaq, 60% shooting, 23 and 10.5, 2.3 blocks. The last time got up all big men, as we saw. Huh?
I understand why Shaq's mad.
I just don't think he deserves. I don't understand. He came to Miami, so the narrative is around him, right?
Yeah.
To get the votes. So from the media standpoint, I guess, but like,
but
the
then
East
they
is so
both have,
fucking weak, and they sucked against the West.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest argument. Because my whole thing is like, I would argue, I originally was gonna say I don't think Shaq should win MVP because obviously Wade's averaging freaking 24, 7, and 6 or whatever.
Yep.
But then when you have look at the other side, you got Nash 16 and 11 with Stoudemire averaging 26 and 9.
And it gets and I'm pretty sure Amari Stoudemire did this for a few years where he got better in the second half. Like his second half numbers were more astounding than his first half numbers. I get that.
Yeah, because I don't remember. I was like, it's insane.
I remember vividly because when he went to the Knicks, I was like, "Fuck, the Knicks are going to be good." I distinctly remember that.
Yeah, I know Stout was nice, but I didn't think he was like averaging 26 when Steve Nash won MVP.
So,
what the fuck?
So from the 1st of January, where he's going to have a 50-point game, right? From the 2nd of January, excuse me, to the end of the year, he's 26, 9. I thought he had more points per game. I thought he got better after the All-Star break. Let me check after the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Because I remember that like in a few different playoff runs. It's definitely going to happen as we go further in his career. All right, I'm bugging. Maybe I'm losing my mind. Maybe it's a different season. But still, to your point, like usually those guys find themselves like 4 and 5 respectively in the MVP.
Like that's literally been my argument for so many times when MVP, like that's never been happening in NBA history, but apparently it has. That just threw me the fuck off.
And,
I guess it's the exception.
Well, you know what it is? It's because it's not because
Nash is
this,
white.
But the reason,
let's not lie. We gotta future
Russell. Not even American though.
Yeah, Russell.
But no. Oh no, that's staying in. But
no, we can't do that.
Amari Stoudemire is. It's just interesting. He even gets a first place vote. I just don't understand. Like,
you're making it seem like he can't get a. I mean, he's like probably 5th in the league in points, probably. Like
something like that.
Legit.
But I guess and I just think the East is so much weaker. I just can't believe it's so close. I really can't believe it's so close. Shaq, I still don't believe you're the MVP of this league.
I don't know. Like, I don't feel like any of them deserve MVP. I think this is just like.
I think that's why Nash ended up with it.
Yeah, like give it a Duncan or something. I'd rather him win another.
Yeah, I would have been. I had that thought too, but I looked at it. I was like, 2011 is. I don't know. It's better than Nash's numbers too, in a way.
Yeah.
Like, and they have the best. They have we looked up their records.
Give it to Dirkio.
Best home records.
Dirkio.
Well, that'll get redeemed in a few years. But I really don't think Shaq deserved the MVP. But I really just don't think. I don't think it should have been.
He's not completely wrong. Because I don't think Nash deserves an MVP for this.
Yeah, but
this has got to be the worst MVP in NBA history.
It's
like at this point,
it's
up to this point, Nash is 100% the worst MVP in NBA history. Like even if you add all the bad white people that they give to
Bob Cousy
to, like Bob Cousy was wilding in his era. Like Nash ain't wilding in no fucking 2000. Like he's averaging 16 and 11. Like that's Chris Paul right now. Like that's wild to me.
And he almost won MVP. A few times.
Yeah. And guess what? You want to know why he didn't? Because he has someone averaging 25 points a game.
So it's by far and away, outside of Bill Russell in 64-65, who's known for not scoring, and Wes Unseld, who won Rookie of the Year and MVP. I think this is the worst MVP voting of all time, in my opinion.
Oh, word! We had to go to literally when our grandparents were born.
That's hey, you were the one who said that not even these.
We
guys
don't even count anything before the 80s. All right, let's do anything.
You don't
after
count
the 80s.
anything before the 80s. Leave me out of that.
We don't.
Leave me the fuck
NBA
out
don't
of that.
either. Like they would like, come on, man. They like grandfather people into the top 75. If not,
so top 3 assist season, right? But one of in the modern era, it's easily the worst from a scoring standpoint.
For sure,
that's for sure.
He has the 2 worst in the modern era.
Yes, but we'll get to that one next year. We're just focusing here. I don't know. I think I don't know. I understand why Shaq's mad, but I don't think that he deserves it. Let's look at the first team, the All NBA voting.
Not for nothing, like I really do. Like in terms of what he was for the league in general, I feel like he should have got a second MVP. Like there's no way. Like his actual argument to me makes sense. It's the whole Steve Nash is over there sitting with 2 MVPs, and him and Kobe over there with 1 that doesn't add up. And that's 100% true. Like, not even from the Kobe perspective, like from him, like he has clearly been the best player in the league for at least like, if not counting the last 2 seasons, like probably 5 or 6 straight seasons. Like from 98 to probably 2003, you could say Shaq was probably the best player in the league.
So you think Dwight Howard comes right in? You think Dwight Howard comes right in here and?
Yep. His 22 and 14 with 300%. When's your MVP? Stop playing with Dwight. 14 rebounds is different. How many MVPs have 14 rebounds? Check that out.
I think every single time everything that we talked about before to start this episode is the reason why this MVP is so wonky. And like, it's too much parody.
No one gives a shit about this season. Tell the truth, guys. Write in the comments. How many times have you went back and said, oh shit, let me go look at the 04-05 season to see how great that was? Nobody does. You want to know what season you think about in this era? The 2006 season. You want to know why? Because the God gets unleashed.
No one cares.
That's a fact. Stop playing.
Also, if you're right, then no one will be able to comment in the comment section because no one will watch this episode. Thanks.
Why?
Because of what you just said.
It's true. No, that is true. Yeah, like
you fool.
Still trying to like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah. Please don't listen to Dario. Watch Apex Greatness. Watch all the seasons we do. Don't make me feel like I'm about to spend 4 hours editing this for no reason. You bastard. Fucking.
I'm just speaking facts, though.
All right, let's move towards the
defensive player of the year. Oh, okay.
No, the postseason. Oh, you want to look at defensive player of the year?
Let's see how Shaq's not involved.
9th. Got a first place vote.
Are you serious? That's dope. Look at you, Shaq.
Better than what he usually gets.
Dwight Howard would have been first. That's a fact. He would have had 3 blocks again. Come on, stop playing with Dwight.
Case to be made.
Yeah.
All right, let's move towards the postseason. So we have one last thing to cover in the regular season, and that is this injury Shaq's going to sustain versus the Pacers on, let's see, the very last game of the season.
Oh, sorry, that was the report date. It was the 18th.
Yes, and so the report comes on the 18th. The 17th is the last game of the season. It's Miami versus Indiana, and Indiana's Jermaine O'Neal bruised Shaq's right thigh shortly before halftime. As Shaq rose up for a layup, his knee slammed Jermaine O'Neal's knee slammed into the quad of Shaq. And this is a devastating injury considering he's not going to miss that much time or any time.
Yeah.
For at least a month here.
But it lingers all the way through.
Yeah, he doesn't miss any playoff times, but he doesn't play the last 2 games of the regular season to try and, heal up.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a big hit for them because, as we just talked about, this guy's an MVP candidate. This guy has definitely done a great deal to get Miami to where they are at from a winning perspective.
Yeah.
And just want to see some of Miami's team numbers in comparison to the league. Because I want to say they're like a better defensive team. Like they're a pretty good defensive team, but they're like number 1 in field goal percentage, top 4 in points, top 10 in both points scored and points against, or points allowed.
Because you gotta think about it, like
puts this all together.
D Wade's a pretty good defender on the wing, and then you got Shaq and Mourning, pretty much like they're the type of people that you don't want to go try to get an easy layup up against. You know what I mean? So,
well, thank God in hindsight, and we're going to see this a little bit as we get into the postseason here, but thank God Alonzo got picked up in the first place.
Yeah.
Because through that crazy series of events, like he's going to end up coming up big, not just this year, but next year, as we'll look into. But now we can kind of move towards the playoffs as we finish out the regular season. And the Heat are going to go against a familiar foe for Shaq. They just played the New Jersey Nets, or Shaq just played the New Jersey Nets in the finals 2 years ago, or three years ago, because it was the 2002 finals, and smashed them up. As we know, this is Shaq's hometown, right? New Jersey, or hometown team, rather.
Jersey.
And it's kind of amazing how much they really just beat the piss out of them. Like, Miami, despite Shaq's...
Yeah, I was going to say, it wasn't even Shaq. It was more so like just... like this was like a perfect... Yeah, and this was like perfect for... like that team, like to have not for nothing, like such an easy opponent, right, Jared?
Stupid.
So having such an easy opponent going up front, being able to like it was kind of like the Golden State, Denver Nuggets 2022. Like the whole Steph was injured, and then he got to work his way back. That's kind of what Shaq gets to do here.
And this team has Vince Carter, Jason Kidd, J.C. Collins, the White Mamba, Brian Scalabrine. No, but they have Richard Jefferson on the team as well. It's not like a really stacked team. Obviously, they're the 8th seed, but without Shaq, I'm sure there was some rumblings of like maybe they have a chance. Maybe it won't be as one-sided as originally anticipated with a fully healthy Miami roster.
For sure. It's like they definitely have the names to make you at least get a little nervous. But apparently Miami didn't give a shit about that.
Yeah, so the playoff preview says Shaquille O'Neal's thigh bone is connected to the continued success of the Heat. Dwayne Wade can carry Miami until a very motivated O'Neal is fully healed. Vince Carter and Jason Kidd have been scorching together, and Richard Jefferson returns. But the Nets have never solved O'Neal. Miami in 6 was the New York Times prediction. So they thought it was going to be a more difficult series. But what we're really been talking about throughout this season, and what we're going to continue to talk about through this playoffs, is just Dwayne Wade becoming Dwayne Wade. Like the Dwayne Wade that we would see for years to come. This is really his coming out season, and this playoffs is his coming out party. Like, he is putting himself on the map.
Yeah. It makes it kind of like not knowing really the history of the season and this stuff, like this time of the NBA really that much. Well, for these specific teams, obviously. Yeah. With Dwayne Wade doesn't come off as such a surprise for what he does in 06. As much now that you like kind of look at it in context and stuff.
You could see it building here in this year.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, in game 1, the Heat, every starter scores double figures for Miami, and they blow out New Jersey by 18.
Yeah.
I don't think New Jersey ever led. No, it was a wire-to-wire victory for Miami.
They let Damon Jones get 30 on them. That's disrespectful.
Yeah, it was so 7 threes. 7 fucking threes.
Yeah,
go ahead.
The 2 he missed were the only 2 shots he missed in general.
Yeah.
That's insane.
He spazzed out.
Yeah.
And Wade, first game of the playoffs, 32, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, and a block.
Yeah.
12 for 18 from the field. No threes taken. None needed. Just a lot of attacking the paint, being flash, being athletic. Yeah. Shaq, the third option in this particular game, 17 points, 11 rebounds. Obviously, he's not going to the full playoff Shaq mode. He's only taking 13 shots.
Yeah.
But his team dominated. As I said, everybody in double figures here. Yeah. Udonis Haslem, 11 and 11, double-double. But the Lawrence Frank, who's the head coach of the Nets, has a history of not being able to stop Shaq in the playoffs, as we were talking about. And that's what he's getting criticized by in the New York Times. And
he's 8-1 in the last 9 matchups.
I think
because they didn't. Did they sweep the Nets?
They did sweep the Nets. Yeah, they swept the Nets.
Did?
I don't think he's lost.
Oh,
I don't think he's lost. So
okay, I
thought
it was Lakers at 5.
Well, we're in game 1, so he's like 5-0.
Yeah.
But no, they're asking Lawrence Frank if he has an answer for Shaq, and he goes, "If I had that answer," he goes, "I don't know, kick him in his thigh." Shaq at 70% is a lot better than anybody in this league, so we know we're going to have our hands full. Jason Kidd said, and we expect him to be not 70%, probably closer to 100. He obviously had his moments. He's not totally out of his athletic peak. He is obviously older, but you could tell he's not all the way there. Like he's just not being as on top of it.
Like I feel like he knew it, but he didn't like, for whatever reason. Obviously, he didn't make it seem like that in the media. Yeah. But in the actual game, like it almost seemed like he like deferred to Wade. You know what I mean? Like,
sure,
they talk about it in the beginning of the season and everything, but he actually like is doing it.
Is being about it. Yeah.
I think he understood his role. Is the big
100%. But I think he thought at this point his role would be bigger than what it is, and it's a good problem for him because his team's so good. Like, you mean after his injury? Yes. The other thing I was going to mention is the 116 points in this game 1 is a franchise record for Miami. Wow. So really just fucking putting the league on. What do you mean? Their history. They started in 1990. The fucking and it was the pace is like this the whole time.
Yeah. And it was such a defensive, like that team in particular, the way Pat Riley kind of tried to make that team was such a defensive based team. So
we remember in seasons past looking at the
70,
Jordan
60, whatever. Yeah,
the pace is like sub 80.
Yeah,
it's terrible. So it wasn't that surprising when I looked into it, especially since he had 2 players score 30 or more points in a playoff game for the first time in team history as well. So it kind of goes hand in hand.
That's crazy. Like when you think about it. The Florida team, like they both didn't Miami and Orlando kind of start around the same time?
Yeah.
Yes.
And
like everybody probably would have thought the Orlando Florida team would have been more successul.
Why?
You know what I mean, just the way the whole franchise started out, like with all its luck and stuff.
Oh, well, that I agree with. I thought you were like, I don't understand. I thought you were saying something different. I was like, what do you mean? Miami's a bigger market. They probably want, if they were going to push anything, like, they would probably want in the bigger city.
That. I'm talking about.
But no, you're right. I agree with that.
The league,
And ironically, Shaq
is involved with both.
Is involved with both of them, in a major way. But Shaq talking about his game 1 performance, saying, there was no diesel explosiveness. Today I had firecracker explosiveness. And he said he estimated that he's at 40%. in game 1. That's why I wanted to bring up what Jason Kidd said about 70. Because Shaq feels like he's under 50%. And these are all obviously made up bullshit numbers that people are like, I want to make that clear. It's not, it's about as accurate as the fucking weather.
But coming from Shaq, wouldn't you think it's like a little bit more like what he's saying matters a little bit more in that case, or no?
I feel like he would add to the hype though. Yeah. I think he would say 17-10 and like 17-10 for him.
He's just a compulsive liar.
Yeah, exactly. And he wants to build the hype and the momentum. Yeah. You're like, you've seen me at 100%. You think that was even close? Like, I put up, Shaq, dumb, big pee-pee shit. Needs to show his 7'7" pee-pee. But Miami coach Stan Van Gundy dismissed suggestions that the Nets were overly focused on O'Neal. Do you think you have to be fixated on Shaq? Van Gundy said when he asked if he felt the Nets coach Lawrence Frank had concentrated too much on containing O'Neal and not enough defending the perimeter. That is an interesting point. That explains why Damon Jones got open for his 7 threes, because it's playoff Shaq. So you're automatically thinking we're going to collapse every time. Yeah. We need to collapse. And Shaq doesn't have any assists in this game, but everybody else does. And especially Wade, who is driving and kicking. Yeah. Good point. Also hockey, a
lot of the times, when you think about the Shaq posting up and then passing, a lot of the times those lead to hockey assists, because they're they leave the one man, the other guy comes up, and then they pass it to the other guy for the
right.
Or so, so
I wish they added some of that. The triple-double numbers would be absolutely insane if we had that in the NBA.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
There really should be, though, because there's times that, Draymond's, he's, so big on that, because, he'll he'll pass, and literally, as he's passing, tell the other guy to pass the ball. I feel like that should definitely be some type of assist, because he's, just
and all of these high-powered, fastball-moving offenses, there could be 4 hockey assists on one play. Everybody just passes it really quick.
Yeah. But Spurs plays.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Yeah.
It's all one of those plays with everybody passing it, and the one where Duncan throws it to the corner. I have one right in my head that's going to play right now. That's what it always comes down to, Van Gundy said. I love it. I'm never going to criticize another guy's game plan because he loaded up on Shaquille O'Neal. You've got to be kidding me. You can't just come into the game and say, you know what? We're leaving Shaq on his own down there, and we're taking away the threes. You can't do that. He'll make some adjustments. To criticize his game plan because he went down and guarded Shaq, forget it. Totally agree. Especially at this point, I feel like in 2022, that's more likely to happen. I feel like when we bring one of these Shaq Apex teams, whatever his Apex greatest season is, and we determine that at the end, I feel like we're going to look at some teams and go, I bet you they say Shaq at whatever you want. We're just going to shoot threes and not worry so much about it. Yeah. But in this era, you absolutely can't do that. You can't, because the league's still predicated and based around that 2-point.
Yeah.
And the 3 hasn't completely exploded yet. But look, even in this situation, when you guard the paint, they got shooters on the outside. This team is just very balanced and really solid on both offense and defense. And it's not surprising they kind of tear through the playoffs the way they did. So in game 2, as we saw in the beginning of this season, Alonzo Mourning was a net to start, right? He was a net to start the season, and then came over to Came over to Miami in March through I think it was a buyout, we said. So he comes in this game. Complete revenge mode. 16 minutes. He fouls out, right? In 16 minutes. Yeah. But in those 16 minutes, absolute flame. 21 points, 6 of 8 from the field, 9 of 12 from the free throw line, 9 rebounds.
Insane.
Off the bench. I can't get over that. 21 and 9 in 16 and a half minutes.
Yeah.
That is insane. Mourning, who wanted out of New Jersey earlier this season because he didn't consider the Nets a championship contender, scored 21 points and grabbed 9 rebounds in 16 minutes. So ridiculous. 104.87 is the total. So Shaq said after the game, Zoe told me, I know you're banged up and I got your back, said Shaq, who scored 14 points in 26 minutes while Alonzo added his 21. I'm happy for him. The Hulk carried Superman, so now Alonzo Mourning is the fucking Hulk.
That makes sense, though. He's Jack. He's Jack.
He is brolic. He is brolic as fuck. A Nate Thurman level of brolicness. Yeah. But Shaq is like really not wavering at all about this great start to the season or the postseason.
Yeah.
We did what we're supposed to do, which is win at home, Shaq said. We don't want to get overconfident. We just have to keep playing team ball and we'll be tough to beat. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's completely accurate.
That's exactly what's said in that situation. I could see his big ass head like sitting on the podium just saying that. So I agree.
I agree with him.
So they swerve over to New Jersey.
So obviously, as we've talked about several times in different playoff series, and something we've talked about in some of our current event stuff, like Game 3 is going to be the best. If you're down 2-0 and you're going home for Game 3, that's your best chance to win, and that's when you're going to get the biggest fight.
And for gambling purposes, you always bet that it's going to be a closer game. Always do it.
Yeah.
Just to help you out. You won't. Unless the team is like completely ass cheeks, like the Clippers or something.
So uncalled for it. Oh, no, so this game here goes to double overtime, which is Wade's going to play almost an hour. Shaq's going to play over 45 minutes. Shaq's going to have a big scoring game, not a lot of rebounds, which I'm sure he's upset about because we've seen him be upset about that in the past.
Yeah.
But he's going to get 25 points. He's going to go 9 of 15 from the line. Wade, 22 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, 4 steals, and a block. 9 turnovers, which is probably why they're in overtime in the first place.
Yeah.
But
you want to know what's crazy? Like, this is probably Shaq's worst shooting game against the Nets till this point, I think, right? Because he had always shot over 50%. I don't think he's ever shot under 50.
Versus I was about to say versus Brooklyn, versus New Jersey.
Yeah, them hoes.
I think he shot 40% here.
Yeah,
it's this series. It's because he's
back to back. Yeah,
it's because he's not playing Shaq level. Because like in Game 2 he has 14 points.
Yeah.
In Game 3 he has 25, but the game goes to double overtime. What did he have in the 2 overtimes? 18 of his 25 in the regular time, and then in overtime,
7.
He's got 7. So without that overtime,
you do math like,
dude,
you're second grade.
You had a solid 10 seconds of real time to butt in and fucking just say it, but you let me fucking go.
I said 7.
I didn't hear you.
You were like 5, 2.
I didn't hear him.
I'm like,
I'm sure it'll come up on the thing, but I didn't hear it. But no. So without the overtime, he finishes with 18 points.
Yeah.
So he's still not really hitting that level. The only reason he got to 25 is because of the overtimes and exhausting double overtime game, right?
Yeah. I'd be tired as hell if I was Wade. He couldn't slay no dick or nothing. I'm sorry. I'm being stupid. All right. But Wade was wild in New Jersey.
Fucking, hold on.
Is that going to get cut? That's probably going to get cut.
No, it's not. If you acknowledge it, it's not going to cut. That's how that works.
He was tired as hell. He went home to, what's her name again? Gabrielle Union and said, yo, chill.
I don't think they were married at this point.
He was doing something.
Dwayne Wade's a child.
And he was like, chill. I just ran for 52 minutes. This fat ass dude ain't himself no more. I'm tired.
Trying to see. So in the second half and overtime, because it says, when all else seemed to be precarious, Lawrence Frank went to the tried and true hack-a-shack, which worked only somewhat as O'Neal sank free throws in critical moments, which is true. He hit all his free throws in overtime. He had 3 in each three in the first overtime, none in the second. But he also hit 2 big ones at the end of regulation.
That's why he always goes back to I hit him when it matters, though.
Yeah. And there have been people that have his back on that. And so far, we have seen in several instances, especially come playoff time, where that's an accurate statement. There have been times where it's not, but in the playoffs, he's definitely a high above 60%. In these crunch time situations.
I'm surprised Skip Bayless wasn't out there like killing Shaq for this, like his whole.
Well, this is just before. I mean, he was calling him Shaquille O'Whale, and saying things like that.
Yeah,
but this is just before the first take or cold pizza era. We're hitting it though. We're entering it. I feel like cold pizzas exist at this point.
I like Shaq's career has been like a Skip Bayless analogy.
Well, he's obviously writing during this point. Like he's obviously covering the league to an extent.
Yeah, because I'm like, this like him. I just remember that Sacramento game where he threw up the layup real quick because he didn't want to get fouled and stuff like that. Like I was like, that's such a Skip Bayless like talk shit about your moment.
But Shaq about Game 3 says we should have beat them with 2 minutes left. If we don't give them any chances, then that game would have been over early. So Shaq keeps being like the old guy. The old guy that's trying to check everybody's pulse. Like, you keep never letting this team being so excited, never letting them be too high or too low after these games.
Well, I think he's just like being the leader he should have been before. But,
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Because it's similar to like kind of what Gary Payton and Karl Malone had to do the season before, like a lot of the times. And I feel like other times and throughout that last run, those Laker runs, he had situations like that. He
at least we can say, as he's coming to Miami so far being the really important part, it seems like he's learned some valuable lessons coming to Miami. That he is, like you said earlier, it's one thing to talk about it, it's another thing to be about it.
Fact.
And he's very much being about the changes that he needed to make. And it's showing in the team's performance.
Yeah.
Like and in Game 4, they're going to complete the sweep with another outstanding team game.
Yeah.
Where
and to
everybody
put it in
does shit.
And to put this in perspective, these Shaq games, these last 4 games, are probably the lowest playoff scoring games in his career. And he's won all of them. Yeah. And if he would have done the same thing in Orlando, they would have got swept. Because they were getting swept when he was putting up stats.
In Orlando or Los Angeles?
No, Orlando.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm just talking about like how much he's grown since.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then how much better of a team he has.
Well, that's what I was going to say is, and the reason why I thought you meant LA is because if he averaged 18 and 9 in LA, like because of the way the team was built, as we talked about, where everybody was expecting Kobe and Shaq to get fucking 70 a game.
Yeah.
Like they would be losing a lot of these games. And he's only playing 33 minutes here. So it's like he's obviously banged up. He's obviously not the guy who he was in Los Angeles at this point, which is crazy because he's coming off a year where he's second in MVP voting. So it's like, it's shocking to see the drop off. And I'm sure, even though they're winning, like I'm sure Shaq's happy with the fact that they swept them, but I'm sure that's why another reason why he's even keel is because he's not able to do too much to make a difference.
Especially with the injury. Like, I think he could still be giving you like 20 and 10 easily, like without the injury. So I think he's like just dropped off a tier. If he was if he was like a, I don't know, a A, he's a B plus now or something like that.
And thankfully they had amazing 3-point shooting in this series to really push him along. Damon Jones, 17 threes made in 4 games. He shot 50% from 3. What is that? Just above 4 threes made a game? Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
No. More than that.
No, it's just above 4.
It's just above 4? All right.
Like 4.1 or 4.2.
As we alluded to earlier, math, not my strong suit. And Eddie Jones was making 3 threes a game. Both these guys shooting over 50% from 3.
Yeah.
Like, they got huge. The others needed to step up, and they stepped the fuck up.
Yeah. If this was 2K, Dwayne Wade is 100% like a slashing playmaker. My man only has...
That is a hilarious inside baseball 2K reference. Like,
yeah.
That is... if you don't play 2K, you have no idea why I laugh so hard at that. But if you play, you know what he's mean. We know what he's talking about. No jump shot, amazing handles, can dunk, takes a mid-range shot, fucking can get buckets, but also
took 2 threes in total the whole series. Yeah.
Got to the free throw line and made 30 free throws in the series, which is almost as many. Wade took 36 free throws, Shaq 41. So this is a average Kobe series. Like, this is your standard Kobe series with a little bit more playmaking.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what they need. They needed this from Wade. And it's crazy how like they kind of set this whole team up banking on him to deliver, and he delivered.
Yeah. Especially with other teammates stepping up, like he 100% could be the playmaker. Like, because playmaking is like he's pretty good at that, and obviously he's a great scorer, but he doesn't. I
always thought he should have played point guard. He's playing point guard here for this team.
Yeah,
but I always looked at him as a excellent, slightly above average in terms of height point guard.
I'm surprised he didn't do that more often in his career.
Me either. Like, I don't know. I never understood the switch to 2 guard for him.
Yeah. Like, well, he probably looked at it maybe how much he could help defensively. Because you can't. If he was playing point guard, he wouldn't be able to play the defense he played.
Like, it says he's listed at 2 guard in this season, but he's not. He's playing the point.
Yeah.
He's not. Like, the other guys on the team are bigger than him and guarding bigger people. He is the facilitator. It's almost like there's a lot of positionless basketball going on between Damon Jones, Eddie Jones, Wade. Like, there's no traditional point guard here. It's another interesting thing to look at. Wade is like the definition of a combo guard right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, they sweep New Jersey. And even though Shaq had a terrible series, going into the Heat versus Wizards series, Washington forward Michael Ruffin said of O'Neal, "No one can stop him." This is after 18-9. No one could stop him.
Yeah.
So, like, his gravitational pull affects what Miami does. Like,
I'm not gonna lie, especially this being their first year together. I could understand why a lot of people would look at it as shoot all you want. I'm gonna clog the paint. It makes sense, honestly. Like right now, it doesn't because we're in 2022, but at that time it makes complete sense. Like
that's what I wanted to bring up. Like, and I talked about this before when we were looking at the Nets series. Like, it is if they did that, and when we do hypotheticals. When we bring them into 2022, I feel like that's going to be a logical strategy for some of these teams.
Yeah,
and it might work if they have enough shooting on the other end. It might work.
Yeah, the only thing with that quote though, with the Shaq praise, I feel like there's very rare where people actually give like bulletin board material. They're gonna just say whatever the politically right thing is to say and then move on. So that's the only reason some of those quotes like, oh, this guy's still the best player in the league or whatever. A lot of times like people say that now and it's not true. Like,
you know what it is? I can't say with certainty that he's still the best player in the world right now.
Yeah, he's not.
But
there's no way.
But there is definitely a case to be made that he affects the course of a basketball game more than anybody else right now during this period of time. Because of the slow pace, the way the game is played, still inside, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And what he unlocks for his team in terms of their shooting and their playmaking abilities, like as we saw through that round 1 series. Like,
yeah. And he's still the best center in the league. Like,
yeah, but it's becoming by default. We're not there yet, but it's becoming by default. Like,
yeah, of course. Yeah, no, I agree. And that's why it worked. Like, that's why a lot of that stuff works, is because there's nobody there really to contest him. So that gravitate, like if he had another, like if Hakeem was on the other side of him, like it'll be like a completely different story. You know what I mean? So that's why, like, it's a lot.
This Heat team versus that 95 Rockets team would be an interesting battle. Yeah. Like, considering the construction and exactly what you just talked about.
Yeah.
Like, that would be a really interesting battle, I think. But Game 1, Wizards Heat are just going to lock the fuck up. Play serious defense.
Yeah.
Going to hold the Wizards to 37% shooting as a team. Even though all 5 players are in double figures, they took a metric fuck ton of shots to get there. 86 points on 76 shots. That's fucking rough. Rough.
And people say this was these are the better kind of games to watch. Like, who wants to watch? Yo, 50 shots. They missed 50 shots. Who wants to watch that? Like, and they made 26. Like, that's just
rough.
Insane to me.
And they get to the free throw line 30 times, which is good for them, but like also kind of boring from an entertainment standpoint.
Yeah.
Like, but Shaq, 19 points, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, and he went 8 of 12 from the field. Wade, kind of a down game for Wade, shot under 40%, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. Like, they played okay, but again, everybody on the team did things.
Yeah.
This is the case could be made that this is not the greatest team Shaq's ever played on, because there's obviously a bunch of teams, but it's got a case to be the most well-rounded. Like, offense, defense, shooting.
Yeah.
Camaraderie, chemistry.
Yeah.
It might be the most well-rounded. And maybe that's a cop-out. Maybe that's me just sucking dick. And maybe I should call it the best team. But for me right now, I feel like I can't say that.
But there's no way. I'm sorry. Like,
it's the same thing. No, but it's the same thing I was saying earlier in the legacy breakdown about how I think calling Shaq the most dominant is at some points a cop-out. Maybe for me, that's kind of a cop-out. Like, that's all I'm trying to say. Is there's a chance that we could look at it and be
But it's just so hard to say that, like, when you compare it to, like, just some of those Laker teams. And even, like, there's questions that I have. But we'll keep on.
I can't wait. I'm excited. You're building it up. The suspense is being built. So this is Udonis Haslem. If people still think we're a 2-man team at this point in the season, I think that's sad. It should be apparent by now that we have a locker room full of guys who can step up. Facts.
Talk your shit, Haslem.
That is definitely how I feel about this team. 100%. Wizards fans had chanted, "We want Shaq, we want Shaq," when Washington was putting away Chicago on Friday to advance. On Saturday, O'Neal responded simply but ominously, "Be careful what you ask for." Just putting it on a platter for Shaq to build the hype.
Yeah. And the funny part is he's just not doing anything either. Like, he's talking his shit. He's not doing anything. Like,
yeah. And he's not going to speak to reporters. And O'Neal dressed in a back room and left the arena without talking to news media. The backup center, Alonzo Mourning, said O'Neal was still ailing. So he's still not at 100% from the leg stuff. He only played 24 minutes. Like, obviously, it was a blowout for most of the game. And it was over early. So he didn't have to play that much, but still in pain. Actually, looking at that stat line again, 19 points in 24 minutes is fucking fire.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I'd be thrilled.
What was the shooting percentage?
60, 8 of 12.
So that's the biggest and I'm sure that's why so many teams like worry about him, because it's like he's not even playing like the whole game. He's playing half the game. But during that half of the game, he's completely efficient.
Eating.
And a bucket for them.
Just like, absolutely eating everyone. And yeah, that's definitely going to cause people to be like, look, he may not be the LA Shaq, but he's still the best guy. He's still the best there is.
Yeah.
Dwayne Wade in game 2 absolutely decimates. And I had to look this up after I saw the stat line, because I wasn't sure how many times this has happened in history. But Wade's going to have 31 points, 7 rebounds, 15 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks, 7 turnovers, but he nuts on everybody's face. Just fat dick for everyone.
15 and 7 is still like a over 2 ratio. So
since this game, right? And this happens on May 10th, 2005. So since this game, this has only happened twice in playoff history. Only twice.
Really?
Yep. Harden did it against OKC when he was playing for Houston. He had 32 points, 15 assists, 8 rebounds.
That makes it seem not special.
And Chris Paul in 2008 had 32 points, 17 assists, 5 rebounds.
Yeah, both of them. That just made it seem so much less special.
Why? Why are you hating?
Because
that's the only other times it's happened since Wade did this.
2 shitty-ass playoff performers, man.
The only guy that I don't recognize on this list, and I'll have the list on your screen, is a guy named John Bagley for the Celtics.
Oh, that's my guy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're just the biggest fan.
It's my cousin.
I couldn't even tell you what he looks like. They don't even have his picture on
76, right? 76?
Nope, 92.
Oh, okay.
76. He's like, I know that guy sounds like fucking old bastard. No, Allen Iverson did it once. There's a couple of Magic games here. Oscar did it a few times in the 60s. The logo, but basically everybody except
Magic do it, you know, on the biggest stage of them all.
Everybody except John Bagley on this list is a Hall of Famer or multi-time All-Star.
Or their sons.
Yeah. Or children of the Albuquerques.
Of my seeds. They are my seeds.
Who's your favorite son on the list?
On the list?
Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely Magic. Kobe not on that list. So
Kobe's not your son? He's your dad. That's right.
No, he's my dad.
Yeah, I forgot.
He is Magic's grandpapa.
Yeah, somehow that makes sense.
Yes.
Even though age is, doesn't really work like
age
that.
Age ain't nothing but a number. Right, R. Kelly?
Stupid. You're wilding today, dude. You're fucking wilding out.
Oh no, I can't say that. All right,
yeah, just stop. Just fucking stop. Please stop making me do extra work. Fucking.
No, but the reason for that is
because just stop.
It ain't nothing but a number. It's an R. Kelly song.
I know.
Like that's what. Yeah.
Yep. In more ways than one.
I know.
But
a dirtbag. All right, come on, man.
So, as I said, Wade 31 and 15. They needed every bit of that because Shaq 16 and 7, 2 blocks, 36 minutes, 6 of 11 from the field. Like he's not asserting. It is, as you can see, the shots are evenly distributed really throughout the whole team. And O'Neal's still clearly bothered by a bruise to his right thigh. He settled for 16 points and 7 rebounds in 37 minutes. Stan Van Gundy quickly became defensive when O'Neal's play was questioned in a post-game interview. Everything is relative, Van Gundy said. He's not 100%. He may not be Shaq, but that guy right now on one leg is a heck of a basketball player. To give us what he gave us tonight, he was a warrior. And I'm pretty sure that has a lot to do with yet another solid defensive game for the Heat in general. 102 points on 90 shots.
It's insane.
They're really playing defense well, and that's why they're able. All they got to do is get to 100 points. If they get to 100 points, they're probably not going to lose.
Yeah. Yeah, don't you think like Shaq is like a seal on the court? Like
I would call him. I mean, as Skip Bayless says, I would call him more like a whale. He's like a whale.
No,
because he's like elephant seal.
He's like the actual size of a seal, probably.
What's an elephant seal?
Yeah, what's an elephant seal?
Google it right now.
What?
Google it right now.
Google it. Yeah.
It's like I don't even know what that.
Because I feel like he looks like a seal. Because like, especially since he can't walk that much, he'd just be like, "This is."
This is Shaq right here.
Oh, for sure. That big boy right there. Click on big boy right there.
This guy.
He's either an elephant seal or a walrus.
Just look up a normal seal. What's a normal seal look like? This right here over on top, the bottom. Yeah, he's definitely like an elephant seal because he's bigger than that's like Shaq's the size of his PP or something. Like.
Oh my god, bro!
This is Shaq right here. This guy.
Yeah,
this is going to become This is going to be part of the cover photo right here.
Yeah,
this fucking seal. But Shaq's going to miss his first playoff game ever in Game 3.
Yeah,
never missed a playoff game, and I kind of think that's amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. I was just about to say, that's 13 seasons without missing a playoff game.
And it's just like, he had not missed a start in 164 postseason games. Like, yeah, it's 13 years, but he's also 164 games in.
How many people have done longer than that? I know Derek Fisher's like up there.
For like a streak of games played. Yeah. I don't know. I will do my damnedest to find that, and it'll be on your screen. But I got to imagine that's up there. I mean, obviously LeBron. Yeah. I don't know if LeBron's ever missed a playoff game.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't think he has.
He's got to be the record holder for that.
Nah, I think it's Derek Fisher.
What?
Yeah,
LeBron's 8 finals in a row isn't number 1 for consecutive. He might have more playoff games. Derek Fisher might have more playoff games, but I'm saying playoff games in a row without missing one.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like LeBron is.
I feel like Fisher's up there though, because I remember he was on for a lot of those like longevity awards and stuff like that.
But even considering Shaq being injury prone these last 3 or 4 years and not managed to not miss a playoff game, like that leg must have been real bad.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I don't understand why they wouldn't have that. I mean, again, this is like older. Look at it and be like, we could beat these guys. Let's just let this guy like heal up for this next week. Why not do that? It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, here's
with
the
Nets.
Part where I agree.
I'm talking about with the Nets. Yeah.
Well, here's the part where I agree with you completely. Look at what this team is doing.
Yeah.
It's not like the team is sucking with the team is playing really well. It's not like it's not to say they don't need him, but the team is stepping up, as we've talked about repeatedly so far in this playoffs.
Yeah. And he's there for, like, his main thing is how he's a vocal leader, and he could do that on the bench. It's fine.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he did. So Wade again, 31, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 blocks. Another high turnover game. I keep bringing up the turnovers because I keep seeing he's almost getting a quadruple double. He's got a 4x5 right now with turnovers.
Yeah, that might be why he's not a point guard.
I mean, but he's also young. Like, you got to look at it that way too. I get what you're saying.
I know, but I mean, that might be why early he was probably like, I shouldn't. Like If you're making that decision, he's probably like every time, like when I'm, because he was pretty much the point guard, like you're saying, and he caused a lot of turnovers, so he probably didn't want that for his career, maybe.
Yeah, I could see that. And there were probably people that came through the Heat that he felt like, oh, he's probably now I can play off the ball a little more, whatever.
Like Chalmers was.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider. I'm not getting into it.
No, but he's like a.
It's like I would consider Chalmers a pure point guard. I consider him. LeBron, I'm open for three. That's what I think of when I think of Chalmers. Fucking Mario Chalmers. But that's my Stephen A. impression. You like it? But moments before opening tip, O'Neal grabbed Heat guard Dwayne Wade. O'Neal and Wade, nicknamed Diesel and Flash, proved to be great compliments to each other and their games in leading the Heat to the best regular season record in the East. He told me I was the best player on the court, Wade said, adding that O'Neal told him he needed to go out and play like it. This is my team, and I needed to lead it to victory. So to your point, being the hype man, getting these guys hyped up and ready to play.
Shaq's such a hoe, man. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
what do you mean? He called Kobe the best player in the world repeatedly, and I made fun of him and got mad at him for it.
Yeah, but that's like not when, like, he wasn't, after he won a championship, he said that. He wasn't saying it during the time. Well, I guess he was sometimes. I don't know.
I mean, I was going to say at that point, Kobe was also like 20. And I know.
How old is Wade? No, come on. That's not an excuse.
He's way older. Wade played 4 years in college.
Yeah, he's like 22.
Nah, he's like 24. He's 24 in the championship year, so he's 23. It's a big difference. 19 and 23 is a big difference.
Kobe was 21 when they won their first championship. He was 22 the second championship.
But he had the maturity level of a teenager.
No, don't. You see, like when you back Russ in the corner. So all I'm saying, future Russ, you saw that.
It's easy to take shots at Kobe. But let's see. The Wizards could only begin preparing a defense aimed at stopping Wade 20 minutes before the game, when O'Neal's absence became official. So it was a last-second decision for him to miss this game.
Yeah.
It was even scarier for us, Antoine Jameson said of Shaq's absence. We knew Dwayne Wade, who we haven't stopped all series, was going to put the team on his back. We knew Alonzo Mourning was going to come out and prove he could still play. And he did.
Yeah.
14 points, 13 rebounds, 4 blocks, 62% from the field, 5 of 8, 35 minutes, and he did not foul out this time. So, to Antoine Jameson's point, Alonzo Mourning becoming massive, absolutely a massive factor for this Heat team. Just building to their depth, adding to their depth.
Because that was definitely something they weren't expecting to like have at that point, like extra piece in the puzzle that they weren't expecting to have. And they were a good team, a really good team before that.
Yeah, and it just made them that much better.
Yeah.
But Shaq's not going to play again, and it doesn't matter because the Heat are just going to fucking sweep the Wizards. Yeah. But this game was much more competitive, especially in the first half, right?
Yeah.
First half, it's 47-51. Wizards are up, right?
Yep.
And then this third quarter happens, where Wade has 22 and doesn't miss in the third quarter. And they go on a Warriors-style avalanche. 40 points in the third quarter to 25 for the Wizards. Yeah. And they basically win it. Like, it's going to be close in the fourth, but they basically take that home in a wild third quarter avalanche. Wade's going to have 42 for the game.
Do you think Gilbert Arenas is overrated?
No, because I don't think anybody rates him. I think there's a case to be made, in my opinion, he's underrated.
Really?
Yeah. I think he was ahead of his time.
He's a combo guy.
He would be, and he was a shooter.
Yeah.
Like, he could shoot the basketball. Look, he's taking 8 threes a game in his prime here. 7, 8 threes a game.
Imagine now.
like now you bump that up to 10 easy. He definitely gets up to 10, and he's over 30 points a game because he's 29 a game here, and 25 a game in the year we just saw. But like relatively healthy before in his peak, he was healthy. He played a lot. Then he had gun issues, right? And then he gets traded. But the guy was a phenomenon, and I think he's extremely underrated. How are you going to shoot in 2005, in 05-06, he's going to shoot 37% from three, right? And go to the line 10 times a game. Like, he's taking 7 threes, and he's getting to the line 10 times a game.
Yeah.
That's hard and shit.
Yeah, that's a fact.
That is hard and shit. And so I think he's kind of severely underrated.
Because I do,
Agent Zero was the man.
Yeah. His
other
name
on
was
Kobe.
Hibachi, right? Yeah, he did drop 60.
What about his name being Hibachi?
His other name used to be one of his names used to be Hibachi.
Nickname? Really?
Yeah, click his name. Hibachi. The Hibachi.
The Hibachi!
Yeah.
Because he's cooking motherfuckers.
Yeah, exactly. Cooking them.
You know, I was already thinking of the word. And, you know, I was hitting a couple shots and, you know, and then I shot it and I was like, hibachi, and it went in. And the guy turned about, what? You just got hibachi. You just got burned. The arm is a hibachi, so when it gets hot, you can't stop it. So that's why I said, like, when I'm shooting, you're sticking me, you're getting cooked. You're getting hibachi. Greg Anthony's sitting there, hibachi's on fire. And I'm just shooting, and then that's when I said it. You know, cooking chicken and shrimp. And then we went to Philly, and I'm saying it to all of the fans. I was like, oh, they're getting hibachi tonight.
Cooking them right in front of everybody.
Fucking hilarious. I love that. We need to pull that nickname out of retirement. Somebody needs to be called that.
Yeah.
The hibachi. John Morant, you're the hibachi now.
No.
That'd be perfect.
I might be
what do you mean no?
I might be a John Morant hater. I'm not going to lie.
So when does game 4... I'm not even going to get into it. So game 4 is May 14th. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals is May 23rd. So they're going to get a massive break off. Which
that helps a lot. If your thigh hurting, that helps a lot.
You know what's good for thighs being in pain? Sitting on your ass. Sitting on that ass and chilling for like a week.
Yeah. More
than a week. So it's Pistons Miami, right? 1 seed versus the 2 seed. Pistons, kind of a revenge situation for Shaq. Pistons won the championship last year.
They just finished. Well, he did decent against them, but they just finished pretty much embarrassing him.
They
in the biggest stage of them all.
Yeah, I was gonna say they didn't embarrass Shaq. They embarrassed the Lakers, but Shaq dominated them.
Yeah.
With his, he averaged 30 on them. But,
26, boy. Don't be adding.
Whatever.
We just talked about it.
I thought you were about to tell me 10 points a game.
It was like yesterday. We just talked about that yesterday.
It wasn't yesterday.
We do this consistently, guys. All we do is talk about Shaq's life.
But no,
Joe Dumars was the coach. So was Joe Dumars also there for the championship?
The S isn't silent in his name.
Oh, Dumars. Sorry, yeah.
I thought you were doing that on purpose. The S is not silent in this guy's name at all.
I didn't. I wasn't reading it. I was just saying his name. I thought his name was Dumars.
So he was the executive. Larry Brown is the head coach. The guy also.
No, I meant he was like that. I didn't realize he was like the one running the show.
Yeah, after he retired, he went right into the front office.
Yeah,
and not a terrible front office executive. Really not. Put together a champion, obviously, but they have the slowest pace in the league, and they're coming off a series where it's just nobody scores 100 in any game.
Yeah.
The pace is sub 85. The winning team put up 86 points a game.
Oh my God.
This is a defense wins championships team.
Yeah.
They are predicated on defense. That is what they are. That is what they do. And it's an Eastern Conference grinded out type series between two teams that they actually are they're both like fairly deep in comparison to each other. They both have a lot of depth, and they both can really lock up defensively because Miami's no slouch on defense either. Yeah. And most importantly, Miami hasn't lost yet this playoff. They're undefeated.
You thinking Miami was favorite going into the series?
Yeah, we could look that up.
Because when you think about it, Pacers just came off a championship, and it's not like they didn't just beat the best team in the league the year before. You know what I mean? So I feel like they were second seed in the East, so it's not like they were, just
so
like
those
it was
are
a fluke that they were there.
But I think the odds were probably pretty damn close.
Yeah.
Between the undefeated Heat and the defending champion Pistons, who didn't have, as we saw, they beat the Pacers in 6, but they won their first round series in 5. Like, they haven't had a lot of serious adversity so far in the playoffs, but Miami has just torn through everybody like tissue paper. So for them, they're going to lose their first game in the playoffs in game 1.
You would probably say that, but the Pistons were facing the harder opponents, right? Like,
the
Pacers were.
Yes. So obviously, with the Pistons not being the number 1 seed, they did have the harder, or the more competitive battles, for sure. But it's really interesting in this game 1 how all season or all postseason we've seen the Heat others step up in a major way.
Yeah.
And in this game where they lose, it's like the exact opposite. The only guys who are in double figures are Shaq, Eddie Jones, who I would consider the third guy, and Dwayne Wade, who had a terrible fucking game. Easily the worst game of this postseason for him. 16 points on 25 shots. Absolute ass soup. Tried to do other things. 2 steals, 3 blocks. But it was too much defense from the Pistons.
Yeah.
Put everybody in double figures. 6 guys in double figures, actually.
That's the thing with the Pistons. They have like just solid defense all around from the perimeter to the.
And then you got 7-foot tall Rasheed Wallace, 20 and 10, 4 or 5 from downtown.
Yeah. And then it's like you come into the paint and Ben Wallace, beat the shit out of you. So it's
let's see, was this wire to wire? I don't think it was wire to wire. I think it got.
It was like it
was close.
I mean, it was only 9-point difference.
And pace was 82.6, so it was a slow roast for sure.
Yeah, but that's and that's playing into. You can understand why Detroit won that game because that's playing into what they want to do.
And it's just this is Eastern Conference basketball right now.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of these teams in the East are grit and grind, pounded inside, and play hard defense.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of opportunities to win this game. A subdued Shaq, plagued by a right thigh bruise, said after scoring 20 points in 33 minutes. The guys, they now understand that it's not going to be easy. We play better when we have to fight. Is that a fact so far?
No, that was what I was actually gonna be the critique of picking Miami over Detroit in this situation because they're a younger team and they had never experienced any adversity in the playoffs so far.
You wouldn't call Shaq being out and them dominating Washington without Shaq
No, I'm saying in terms of the adversity that you want to see them go through is you're down in the series or the series is teetering and then you had to do something to change. You know what I mean? They had been the dominant ones or the ones controlling the pace or the or what's happening in the series. Because once you up 2-0 in a series, like you have so much leeway to make mistakes if you want to, and those mistakes go unnoticed, especially when you're winning, right? So
that's fair.
So like a lot of those mistakes that you might have been making against these bad teams didn't matter that much because you still won. But now when you're making those mistakes against a solid like championship team, those mistakes are gonna like come out much more.
Yeah, that's a fact. And I could see how going from Washington to Detroit in this case is a major step up in competition.
Yeah,
like that's completely fair. No question, this was one of the best defensive teams in the league, especially in the playoffs, when every game they tune in on what you do, D. Wade said. Sometimes I just missed shots and made bad decisions, but I will correct them. Right? So that's how Wade feels after game one. Let's see. Shaq on his injury. It was hurting this morning. As the day went on, I wanted to play. The adrenaline kicked in, and it got looser, O'Neal said. I wanted to play is in there twice. Don't ask me why. It might be a typo on them, but I read it that way. I had been testing it all day and had a meeting with Stan and said a 30% Shaq is better than no Shaq at all. So he's down to 30 now.
Yeah.
After a week off.
Well, 9 days off, so it's almost 2 weeks off.
What was he doing?
I don't know.
And why wasn't it physical therapy?
Yeah, like
what the fuck?
You would think that it would get.
He should be better.
Not for nothing. Like all of the, like this is crazy. Like these are things that aren't talked about at all. I feel like it's kind of just gets brushed under the rug or swept under the rug because Shaq won a championship. But like this would have looked so bad on Miami if they never won this championship. Like the championship, because
you know what's fucked up?
They would have paid hundreds of millions for like injury prone Goliath, right? like.
Do you know what's really fucked up? I had the opposite thought. I had the thought of, man, what if they won 2? What if they won 2 championships?
That was the thing. Like it could have literally go. That's literally my question, and that's what.
Yeah. Well, let's get through this series and then we'll talk about it. That's where I want to go. That's a good idea.
Yes.
Let's see. So game 2, Miami ties up the series. And they're on obviously Miami's floor. So to lose game 1 like that was bad. But
yeah, exactly.
Let's see. D Wade absolutely corrects his mistakes.
Yes.
Says 40 points in your mouth. Jesus, Wade. Just like really coming into his own. 40 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal, 2 blocks. Shaq, 17 points, 10 rebounds, 2 blocks. Both of them shot above 50%, really above 53%. And this was a 2-man show right here.
Yeah.
They carried him big time. And that was a huge... They needed this game. If they don't win this game, there's no way this series goes as long as it ends up going.
But let me just make this clear. Wade carried them. We're not giving like normally another guy scores 17. They don't get involved in the we.
Sure, I get what you're saying, but it's still 17 and 10. Like he's obviously the second guy, but like they're definitely not winning this game without his 17 and 10. That's for sure.
Yeah. I guess.
And his effect, and the fact that Pistons only shoot 38%, 86 points on 81 shots.
No.
You know Shaq's has a lot to do with that. And getting all these motherfuckers in foul trouble between the two of them.
And that's the biggest issue with the Pistons. Like, if you can shoot efficient on them, or at least decently, like, for the most part, you're okay because like they don't have the greatest scorers and like they really want to beat you up and just kind of play their game.
And that's why they're the most right place, right time team because even though they are everybody in their starting 5 except for Ben Wallace does shoot threes. That's kind of ahead of its time.
Yeah, but
they're just not efficient.
Yeah,
offensively at all. Their offensive efficiency is terrible, and they need their defense so that if they don't have a hot night like this, they can still keep it competitive.
Yeah.
But let's see.
Do you think like this is like they just try to recreate the Bad Boys Pistons? They got the two guards.
I think they were trying to create something. I mean, Ben Wallace was undrafted, so that was kind of a surprise, I would imagine. Chauncey Billups had been bounced around to a few teams. Rip Hamilton was a Wizard before this.
Yeah.
Sheed obviously bounced around a few teams. This is the team of unwanted toys that turned into something really special. So I don't know. I don't know, to answer your question. I think the narrative is similar.
Because this could have easily been those 70s Bulls. Are on a team.
I was going to say 70s Bulls. So I was like, no one talks about the 70s Bulls.
Sorry, maybe the 80s Bulls. Sorry. When Jordan was talking about like they were crack cocaine. Pretty much just played in the league and just like.
Could have been like the Cincinnati Bengals.
Exactly.
Like just like shit like that. Yeah.
Like pretty much just like the bottom of the league. Not like with the talent they have and stuff like that. Like, but then it did become something special for.
It's why they're the most unlikely champion. It's why they're the most unlikely champion of all time. My opinion. Easily, I would
even
say.
Over those Mavs, the 2011 Mavs.
I would say they're at least they have a all-time great offensive, like generational. Like this team is literally a team, a team of unwanted toys.
But the Mavs were like the 3 seed. Like these guys were like the 1 or 2 seed for the last 2 years.
Right, and they're also products of the era. But I don't think even when they were the 1 seed, like nobody picked them to beat the Lakers last year.
Not, but
nobody expected them to even be at that point. So I don't know. History shines fondly upon them now because of when you look back and you look at when you look at it in hindsight, it's different than what it was.
It does stand out like. When you look at all the teams that won in the last 10 years, in that 10-year span, you look at them, it's like they shouldn't be champions. What you just think,
Even you could look through the history of the league; they have no solid number 1 scorer.
Yeah,
you can't find another championship team that doesn't have one. Like that doesn't exist.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Larry Brown talking about Shaq said, I watched him. He's having a hard time jumping off one leg, Brown said of O'Neal. He's amazing. It's amazing that he could be as effective as he was without playing or without really playing to the level. How many minutes did he play in this game?
30.
33 minutes. He's not playing his usual 40 that he'd been playing in LA, but that's been pretty consistent the whole playoffs here. But it's still a fact. Like he's playing like, I don't know. It is crazy how much how well he's playing, despite the fact that he's basically on a leg.
Yeah.
So this Miami now is up 2-1. They return the favor on the Pistons' home floor, 113-104. So their record was 116 in round 1, right? So against the best defense in basketball, they almost get to their franchise record for playoff points in a game.
Yeah. At the opponent's home court, too.
Yeah.
And freaking Wade follows it up again with 36 and 7.
Yeah. And Shaq gets 24 points, finally cracks over that 20 barrier that he's had a very hard time cracking.
Yeah. But fouled a lot.
Yeah. Both of these 3. And again, a big 3 kind of deal.
Yeah.
Really different how when the Heat's backs are against the wall, how the others are kind of disappearing.
Yeah.
And it's just...
But that's normal, though, right?
Like, I'm not saying it's not normal. It's just surprising considering how much damage they were doing.
Yeah. And especially, like, when you look at it, like, just how you normally analyze a series, when you're going into... This is the first game, the away team is going to the other team's home court. So they're not used to this environment, all this other stuff. Usually you don't expect like Shaq would say, like, the others typically don't show up in those games, and you need the others in those games. So, like, it makes sense why they wouldn't, but it's just bad. It's like sucky timing. But that's just like to me, that's like the youth of the team that they still have to, like, sometimes the moment just gets too big for them.
Shaq said, I just know we needed this game. My leg is getting better inch by inch, day by day. Guys were telling me, just keep playing hard, right? O'Neal was in more of a zone than he had been in these playoffs, and his teammates knew it. When the big fella is right, you all got your hands full, Alonzo said. To all those people out there who say that he can't do without the other guy in LA, alluding to Kobe Bryant, he has something to prove. He feels the opportunity's there. That's completely fair. Like, you're at this point.
Alonzo Mourning better keep my man's name out of his mouth.
Stupid ass.
Or we dead ass fighting.
When you're going up 2-1 in a series here, and you have the home court advantage, you're starting to kind of look ahead, and it's just like they can taste it. They can taste the finals right now, even though it's game 3. Like,
and it's weird that Alonzo would do that though. Like, being the older guy.
Is it a guy who never made the finals?
But still, it's like, you're the older guy. Like, you should know. Like,
he doesn't. He's never been there.
But the whole thing is, because you've never been there, you should know how easy it is to take that all away from you. Like,
yeah, that's fair. So here we go. More percentages. Playing wise, I'm not 75%, but the injury is about 75%. I wish I was able to do more. My teammates have been sticking up for me, and everything's been going pretty good. We'll stop right there. I'm not 75%, but the injury is 75%.
I don't know what that means.
What?
I don't know what that means. Usually I could try to like at least think about what Shaq is trying to like say.
Riddle. That's a fucking riddle to me. I don't understand.
So I think I kind of get what you're going to say.
Okay.
So like, even after someone's injured, they still have to like play yourself back to what you were at before the injury, because you're just like out of practice from playing that way or doing those things. So maybe that's what he's saying, is like his injury's feeling like 70%, 75% better, but he's not all the way there yet because he's still injured and so hasn't practiced or played with the way he should be.
Yeah, his stamina's like probably
rhythm,
down, but
everything like that. Yep.
Bam, okay. You're welcome.
I like that. Thank you, Lynn.
No problem.
I mean, as he says,
a little bit dumb as fuck, but I mean, I see it.
I'm going to use his own argument against him, though. This is also a guy who said, I don't need to get ready for Duncan. I don't need to get ready to just show up and, like, stand in the paint and make layups and dunk. So, like...
Oh, the action... Yeah. Oh,
outside of stamina, like, I don't know, Shaq. I'm not 75%, but I think you're right, Lizzie. I think that's what he's trying to say. But fuck you, Shaq. Fucking, you don't have to get ready for dunking. You just go in there and dunk.
My main thing though is like a dude like Kobe wouldn't even be talking about the injury. That's all.
Oh, here we go.
That's all. I mean, is it not facts?
Yeah,
is it not facts?
Grown.
I mean, hello.
Grown. Fucking
exactly. Yo, comment right below. Would Kobe be talking about this injury right now if that was him?
If they asked him about it, probably.
Excuse me, I'm talking to the viewers.
I'm talking to the audience.
Yeah,
I'm talking to the people.
Thank you.
The people. Fucking Detroit's gonna tie up the series in Game 4, 106-96. Shaq, 25 minutes played. Only 25 minutes, 12 points, 5 rebounds, 4 personal fouls in 25 minutes. Just playing awful. Wade, 28 points.
Rashid and Benny were just like, yeah, take this 75. Wham! Wham! Wham!
Yeah.
Beating the shit out of him, I'm sure.
Rip Hamilton, 28 points, 8 of 12 from the line.
Look,
she 20 points.
Both Wallaces, between both of them, 10 fouls. You want to know who they were fouling?
Shaquille.
Yeah,
Shaquille.
They were
and Antonio McDyess had 4
Yeah, they
4
were
fouls.
beating his ass. Stop playing.
How many free throws did he have? 10. That's not so bad. It's not so crazy. But everybody here had above 5.
Yeah.
Like, they shot a lot of free throws, still couldn't get the job done. But O'Neal played only 8 minutes in the first half because of foul trouble. He picked up 2 early fouls before sitting down a little more than halfway through the first quarter. He re-entered the game 2 minutes 28 seconds into the second quarter, but was taken out at the 7:27 mark after picking up another foul. He left the game at 3 minutes 5 seconds of the third quarter, picking up his 4th foul, and then he returned for a few minutes left in the fourth quarter, but he was taken out for good once the Pistons pulled away. That was a really tight description of him just fucking being classic Shaq and getting in foul trouble constantly.
That's the one thing, like, when Shaq, like, if Shaq's not, like, giving you, like, being his dominant self at least a little bit, like, he's literally just, like, a liability on the court sometimes.
Yeah.
He's just, like, a big doofus that's not going to run with people and just be fouling people.
And that's the double-edged sword of Shaq, because, like, especially at this point in his career, because you either keep him on the floor and you do that gravitational pull type deal that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Or you keep him on the floor and he just, like, shits the bed.
Yeah.
And he's just a walking 300-pound, as you said, liability. Like, it's definitely an accurate statement. Going into Game 5, they're back in Miami. Miami's going to thrive off coming home. 88-76 is the final. And the big news is Wade's injury, who didn't really play that well, but Wade had wrenched a rib muscle. The Pistons had pounced on the anxious heat, deflated momentarily by the loss of Miami's leading scorer to cut the lead by halftime. So it felt like a pulled muscle, me making a quick move. It was like whiplash to my body, Wade said. He said he'd hope to recover quickly and be ready for Game 6. O'Neal thinks Wade will be ready. He's a tough kid. If he's not able to play, we just have to have other guys step up, which is fair because that's what they've been doing all playoffs so far when it comes to Shaq.
Exactly.
So what did Shaq finish with in this game? Shaq had 20, only 5 rebounds, 5 fouls, still was getting into foul trouble. I think he had a better first half than second half. Yeah, he had 15 of those 20 points in the first half. Yeah. So way better first half than second half.
7 to 10.
And I'm sure that was inspired because Wade went out and he was like, I need to fucking step my shit up.
Yeah.
It's time. It's time to be Shaquille. Similar to Shaq, 50% of Dwayne Wade is better than known Dwayne Wade at all. So they're going back to that, just dealing with these banged up boys.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter because Wade is forced to sit out Game 6, and I really believe this cost them the series.
Yeah.
Like, I think if Wade doesn't get hurt here and he plays, I think they finish it in 6. Even though it's on Detroit's floor, I just think they had momentum. You finally get a diesel performance from Shaq, 24 points, 13 rebounds, 5 blocks. This is starting to look closer to LA Shaq, especially towards the end of the LA run.
Yeah. I mean, they got blown out though.
What do you mean? Shaq's 24 points was more than a third.
No. What I'm saying is that, like, I wouldn't just straight up say, like, if they had Wade, that would be different. Because I mean, they lost by almost by 25. You know.
I think Wade would, if Wade's been averaging at least 25 in the series, so I think it does make a difference.
And then you have to factor in his assists as well.
Yeah.
But so the series has been going back and forth like every single game. I just think it's not like, sure, maybe they have a better chance if he obviously they have a better chance if he's there, but I'm just not straight saying that Detroit shouldn't have won. Like, you know,
I'm not saying Detroit shouldn't have won. I'm saying Miami if Wade is healthy and he doesn't get hurt in Game 5, I'm pretty sure the Pistons lose Game 6. I'm not saying they have no chance to win, but I think they go down.
Yeah.
Because I think with Wade, with a chance to close them out, I just think, I don't know. I liked what Miami had been doing this whole postseason. I like the way they're getting the ball to their guys. I like the way Wade's distributing the ball and getting buckets. I think it would have been way harder for the Pistons to get through this Game 6 otherwise. But I understand what you're saying for sure. So his teammates said they knew how much it hurt Wade emotionally to have to watch from the bench. I know it bothered him a lot, said Shaq, who scored a team-high 24 points. When you're on a team and one of your guys is out, someone or 2 or 3 people have to step up. And we didn't have that tonight. We were just loosey-goosey with the ball. How many turnovers did they have? Shaq, we were just loosey-goosey with the ball. Shaq, 6 turnovers.
When you
16
say we,
total.
Well, when you say we, like that's a team thing. Like that's what you're supposed to say is we, not I. Or come on, you can't want him to say that when they win it and then when they lose. Come on,
I want him in this instance to say I had 6 turnovers, even though I had a bigger game. But he uses the we crutch here. O'Neal did not offer any speculation on whether Wade would play in Game 7. I'm confident he'll be playing, but if he's not, everyone has to step up in Game 7, including me. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear that shit. And that's going to bring us into a really close Game 7 in Miami, where
they blow it too.
So that's what we're gonna get into, and I'm gonna have some of these plays on your screen. But going down the stretch in the last couple of minutes, Shaq, who's having a back-to-back solid performance, right? Wade does return, but he's obviously injured. Sound familiar? Sounds like what we've been dealing with Shaq this whole playoffs.
Yeah.
But he's going to have 27, 9 rebounds, 2 steals, 3 blocks, 5 turnovers, and 5 personal fouls, but 12 of 19 from the field for Shaq. And he wants the ball. He's calling for the ball. He's demanding the ball down the stretch. I wonder how many points he had here in the fourth quarter. He's got 9 of his 27 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And playing really well, making his free throws. They really just really stake it up in the last few possessions.
Yeah. And that's
really bad.
It's crazy. Because they were up 2 going into the fourth.
Yeah.
So it's not, I mean, obviously it's not guaranteed, but at least you it's good going having a lead going into the fourth. And it just diminishes pretty quickly and they
also Wade, looking at these fourth quarter numbers, Wade absolutely sucked a fat dick in the fourth.
Yeah.
0 points, 0 of 6 from the field.
Yeah.
2 turnovers, couldn't even really get assists going. So it was on Shaq to carry them here.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get him the ball in the last 2 possessions. And this leads to Shaq kind of reverting to some old habits that he had the tendency to do. So O'Neal was asked about the team's inability to get him the ball down the stretch. I'm not making the decisions, he said. You'll have to talk to the guy who's making the decisions. Classic Shaq. Classic Shaq answer. He would say that all the time when it came to Phil and doing things in LA.
The hardest thing, the only thing that I could give him some slack for, because he's been great, the whole season, obviously, is in those situations, you're so pissed. You just lost a big game, and he probably saw how close he was to being able to go to the finals and stuff. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sure he's super pissed. So that's another, because this has been one of his better seasons in terms of the shit, what he's done for the team and how he's been showing the type of leader he is for the team.
Exactly. And as the article says, still, even as O'Neal improved, he wasn't himself. But O'Neal's best 2 games of the postseason were his last 2. He followed a 24-point, 13-rebound effort in the Pistons Game 6 blowout with a game-high 27 points and 9 rebounds. Shaq was unstoppable, Chauncey Billups said, as he always is. But it wasn't enough. Shaq committed a big turnover and missed a shot in which he was pushed out of his comfort zone. So that means outside of the paint, because that's his area of respect.
Yeah.
What do you call it? And with the Heat on the verge of breaking open the game. I'm not making excuses. We just let this one slip away, O'Neal said. Like, I don't know. We had a lot of opportunities, but they were just a more experienced team than us. We have to learn that to succeed, you need to learn to fail. Some fucking classic Shaq statements right there. But that quote and that tension is gonna get into our off season because Van Gundy and Shaq are gonna butt heads after this moment in time.
Yeah.
Like they were liking each other a little bit. Like they didn't really hate each other. Obviously, we saw Van Gundy defending Shaq a lot during this postseason run. But it doesn't take much to turn big baby Shaq against you as a coach when you just don't give him the ball every time like he's used to. Especially when he's having one of those Shaq games and he feels good. He's back to give me the ball every time. Wade's dead. Our team's fucking needs me. Like get me the ball.
I got you, coach.
Facts.
So some of my questions. All right. Do you think if Shaq was 100% healthy in the beginning of this, like starting the playoffs, they would have been as successful as they were? Like, let's say, because and the reason I asked that is because when Shaq is like actually like at whatever level he is at this point, a lot of the times what the teams would do was like in a series they'd focus more in on Shaq in terms of giving him the ball, stuff like that. Yeah. And like we see it here where he's demanding the ball because he's doing well. Like, could that have been an issue if he was 100% and he just wanted that from like the beginning? You know what I mean?
I could see what you're saying, where it
from
being
a chemistry
issue,
standpoint,
especially with him being mad that he didn't win the MVP.
Yeah,
like I could definitely see that attitude, but I still think they're as dominant because if you add Wade being amazing, like that makes a difference. And the in the playoffs, the gravitational pull towards Shaq was still happening, as we saw earlier in the playoffs. So I think whether he's fully healthy or not, I'm positive that they get through the competition they get through. And I really think they beat the Pistons in 6 games or less.
Okay.
With a healthy Shaq and more specifically a healthy Wade.
So,
I think they get it done in 6. Like I said, I thought they would get it done in 6 with a healthy Wade. Like,
yeah. So you think they go to the NBA Finals? Do you think they win against the Spurs?
So that's the team that we would have to look at. But I wanted to look at Shaq's regular season numbers real quick.
Yeah.
So Shaq's 23, 10.5, 2.5 steals, 2 blocks, and he drops in the playoffs to 19 a game, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and a block and a half. I think if you get what you got in the regular season, it's significantly easier for them to get through and definitely make the finals. And then when we look at the Spurs, I think the question comes down to how well does Wade play?
Yeah.
Like, because as we know, the Spurs have a lot of experience against Shaq, and I think they would be able to do a pretty good job of doing what they've done in the past with containing him.
Yeah.
So I think it comes down to can a 22-year-old Tony Parker and a 27-year-old Ginobili, but that's kind of deceiving because he came into the league late. Can two guys who are relatively young in the league stop a Dwayne Wade who's just a fucking meteor right now?
Well, you gotta remember they got Bruce Bowen. That's who's actually gonna be guarding them.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
It's more so is can Wade be Kobe Bryant? And I don't know if that.
There's lots of articles that to save time, passed over where there are many people who call Wade the anti-Kobe in this season. The opposite of Kobe. Here, I'll get you the quote. So,
well, guess what, guys? Because he wasn't. Look what happened.
Come on. It's not fair.
Kobe ain't missing no damn playoff game. That's all I'm saying. No offense.
Get the fuck out of here.
I like Wade and everything, but Kobe ain't missing no damn playoff game. We know that.
You're right, Zach.
Broken fingers, bone spurs in his. Come on, man. Stop playing. When he was 32, Wade over here, a puppy, a baby.
I'm sorry. I'm not listening to you. I stopped listening when you started. When you had Kobe's dick in your mouth. I missed it.
Oh,
my bad.
All right, Lindsay Layman.
Yeah.
I'm giving you government names.
Mm-hmm.
Is Kobe missing that game? Be honest.
Probably.
Oh my god, that doesn't even sound. Yo,
if he didn't miss the game, it would be because he's too stubborn and too stupid to realize he would be costing his team a win. I can't find it.
My next question is, what does Shaq's legacy look like if he wins this championship?
That's a very interesting question.
There's not many players in that top 10 with 5 championships.
And definitely not a lot of people who have led their teams, who've led 3 different teams to the NBA Finals, whether you win or lose. 3 separate franchises to the finals. So I wanted to get these stats up because I wanted to see what Wade did versus Bruce Bowen. All right. Better than I thought, actually. In 9 games versus when Bruce Bowen was playing, 26 a game, and in the early part, still getting a decent amount of buckets. Obviously, 14 the first time he played him, but high volume, but still getting points, still getting Wade still doing his thing. So I think it would be like the original Pistons versus Spurs went 7. So I think the Heat versus the Spurs could totally do the same thing and go 7. Yeah. And if Shaq were to win the championship, does he get Finals MVP? It's an important question.
Probably not. I think Wade would be.
Right? So if Shaq got it, I think there's a case to be made, especially at point of Shaq's retirement, that he could be top 5.
Yeah.
But without the Finals MVP, I don't know. It moves him 1 or 2 spots. Like, I think there's a bigger argument between Shaq and Duncan, probably. I think that happens more because they both have the same amount of rings and people are basic. Like,
yeah, I just like if Shaq wins a Finals MVP here, like he for sure like there's a huge argument for him to, and if he and then winning the next championship too.
Yeah,
going back to back.
Yeah,
because he would have won in this case. That means he would have won 5 of the last 6, 7 rings.
Yep.
That's
so that would be pretty good. And think about all the finals he made from 95 to 05, right?
Yeah.
In 10 years, he made the finals.
No, sorry, 6.
6 times? 7 times?
He's 4 for 6. Yeah.
And if he made this finals and won it, he would be 5 of 7. Like you said, there's not a whole lot of guys in NBA history there's not a whole lot of guys in NBA history that can lay claim to that.
Oh, and 5 of 7 in the NBA.
Yeah, those 5 of 7 being on 3 different franchises.
Yeah,
something Kobe never did. So you started it. So
it was just so funny. You're like, yeah, like going 5 for 7. That's great. It's just like, thanks, bro.
You're welcome. But the 3 different franchises is actually crazy because like, who else has done that? LeBron.
That's the only person that's done that.
Kawhi Leonard has done it with 2 different franchises.
LeBron James is the first person in NBA history to win a championship with 3 different franchises as the star, or win Finals MVP for 3 different franchises.
Yeah, because I think Big Shot Bob won it for a couple of franchises.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think
star,
that's specifying. MVP. That he was the main superstar. Yeah.
I genuinely don't know how much it moves Shaq. Because he's probably top 10 all time now, like give or take, depending on how you feel. He's flirting with top 10. I think he would be a solid 100% top 10. Like he's not coming out of the top 10. Like it's not happening.
I'm shocked that if people don't have Shaq in the top 10 right now.
People are putting him in. People are taking Curry in there and putting Shaq out.
That's insane to me. Like who else is in the top 10?
You know what's insane? What's insane is how much people care about the top 10 greatest players of the history of basketball. That's insane. You can't actually get an answer. Fucking everybody's got a different answer. And if you go too far off that different answer, then you just get killed and you're an idiot. Like it's, I don't know. The top 10 argument is because it's like now Curry gets to get at the top 10. I like the idea of the table of legends.
The tiers?
Yeah, and I would consider Shaq on that top tier, and he would be at the table. He would move from the table with like Kobe and Duncan, and he would move up to like maybe the Magic, Bill Russell, Michael Jordan, LeBron territory. Like. See what I mean? Dario? Top 10s are stupid. Top 10s are stupid because you clearly don't agree with my top 10. So it's fine. Like that's my whole point. That's my whole point about that. Like it's all fucking subjective bullshit.
No,
and
but that's like
the further we get away in history, the more history that we have in the game. Like we're only 75 years in as of this recording. Yeah. We're only 75 years into the league. When we get to 100, there's going to be more fucking guys at the table. And we're not going to be talking about the top 10. We're going to be talking about the top 15 because there's just too many great players.
Yeah. No, what I'm saying is like, I agree with the whole, what you were saying. But then when we start talking about tiers and then when you start, that's the part when I think like people just get delusional with not like saying you were. I'm just saying like that to think. Like, when you watch these players play against each other, you don't think, like, this person's, like, a level above this person. Like,
yeah, I agree with you.
You know what I mean? Like, when we were watching Kobe and Tim Duncan play, I just thought I was watching 2 great like, obviously, I was a huge Kobe cock eater.
Yeah, no, you were not watching. You were not thinking, oh, I thought Tim Duncan players. You were thinking, Kobe, fuck him! Destroy him!
And he would. But the whole thing is Tim Duncan was great. Like it was, and I never thought that he wasn't great. You know what I mean?
That's not true. I don't believe it. I don't believe you.
That didn't.
I was
rooting for Tim Duncan a lot of times.
I believe in the moment you did not think he was great. You were fuck him all the way. And you were biased. Sure. Your eyes were seeing red or purple. But that doesn't. In this case,
I never thought that he was like whack though. Like you know what I mean?
There are people who shit on his name.
It was fuck Timmy D. It was fuck everybody because Kobe's Kobe.
Fuck everybody that isn't the Mamba. But you would pretend to be a Lakers fan. So last thing before we move on to the 05-06 season. We've already talked about a few things that have happened that could have, like several what if scenarios about whether the Miami Heat, if they win the championship, what happens. I think the last thing I want to ask about that is Pat Riley is going to take a bigger step of involvement, according to him. I think he says it as more active involvement heading into the 05-06 season. He's going to coach by the time they get to next year's playoffs. If they win the championship here, does he still do that?
I honestly don't think so though, because I feel like when you win, it goes back to like the Mike Buden. Is that his name? Mike Budenholzer.
Sure.
The Bucks.
That is a name of a coach. I don't know if it's the right coach until you tell me the story.
No, yeah. So that goes back to like what you said about Mike Budenholzer when he won the chip last year.
Yeah.
And you said they're not gonna get rid of him. It's because they literally like
you can't get rid of somebody after they win a championship. It's only happened like I think. Well, I guess when you win Coach of the Year, you can still get fired. We've seen that happen. We saw that happen with Dwayne Casey in Toronto.
That's insane.
It's happened. Yeah. But I've never... I can't think of off the top of my head. I'm sure I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. But I can't think of a coach that's made it at least to a finals and not... Yeah. And been fired after making a finals, let alone winning it.
No, they've definitely been fired after making a finals.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
But none after victory.
Yeah,
maybe if somebody steps down, maybe someone resigns.
David Blatt was he got fired
that's
after,
true.
Yeah. But that was a LeBron thing. But I mean, there has definitely been people who get fired after making the finals. I feel like. Yeah. For sure.
I guess Phil Jackson stepped down / was fired.
Yeah, but
at the end of the league.
Yeah, but he didn't win it. Like I don't know. Yeah. I don't think any coach has ever. Yeah. So I feel like it would be very difficult for like, especially like, I feel like Pat Riley really liked him. You know what I mean?
He liked both the Van Gundy brothers. I think he gave both of them their starts in the NBA.
Yeah.
When he was on the Knicks. I just don't know. I feel like what's going to happen, and we're going to talk about this as we get into the next year. But I feel like what's going to happen is Pat Riley does major moves in the offseason and kind of reshapes the team.
Yeah.
And he kind of feels an obligation to make good on a promise of a championship. And I feel like if the 05-06 Heat have a bad start, no matter what, I think Pat Riley has to at least consider it. But it's hard to justify somebody leaving after, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think once
you can't fire him. And they didn't fire Van Gundy. He kind of walks. We'll see next year.
Yeah, we're gonna break it.
He kind of walks away. So like,
yeah.
No, I don't know. I think there's a chance it happens no matter what. If Pat Riley feels the obligation to the players to fulfill on a promise, I feel like he does it no matter what.
Well, the whole thing is he would have he would have fulfilled that obligation the first year, 04 or 04, 05, he would have done that, and then I feel like if they have a slow start, because you have like that leniency, right, like you just won a championship, like okay, you had a slow start, but you just got new players, so they give you a little bit of that like understanding that things are gonna go bad at first until they get better. But when you just got made, you were 2 minutes away from the NBA Finals the year before. You start off really slow, bad. Yeah. You're not getting this team together. They're not going to give you that link. And plus, the team didn't really. I feel Shaq didn't really respect them. So that kind of
not after that last moment of the playoffs. Like there was definitely some of that coming into the season, but I feel like in the playoffs we just went through, Van Gundy rather defends Shaq at every turn through his injury plague.
He definitely did. Yeah,
so the relationship had to be there at least a little bit at that point. But not getting Shaq the ball severed a bond that could have been much stronger, and it made it easier.
I'm shocked that happened to it's never happened before.
It never happens with Shaq it ever. But we are going to the 05-06 season where there's major overhaul and hardware acquired. Hey guys, if you like what you heard, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. Just type in Apex Greatness on YouTube to see everything we put out this year. From legacy breakdowns to current NBA and NFL content, we have over 150 videos to binge if you're that type of person, or just to listen to in your spare time. We have about 2 to 5 hours of new content every week. Check us out. Later.